Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So, today I've got a special live stream here with 4 special guests. We are going to have the Comics Great stream. So, essentially, we're just going to be talking about comics that we enjoy and think are great. It's not going to be limited to only DC, so we're really going to expand things here tonight. We might have a few more guests joining us too as time goes on. We're expecting Mega Gears and hopefully Captain Frugal. I know he's got some stuff going on though, so he may not be able to make it in. In any case, though, we have the illustrious Bob Jones. How you doing tonight, sir?
Hello, America. Bob Jones here.
Always good to have you and your soy-free agenda. I like it a lot.
Well, when you're trying to fight the reticuloids and the soy, you know that I will always fight for you, America, and I will always fight to keep your comics up to snuff.
Absolutely. And we also have, let's see, Nerdette. How you doing today, Tristan?
Pretty good. How are you?
Yeah. Oh, I'm good. It's always nice to have you on.
Thank you.
Glad you could make it. All right, and for the first time on this channel, we've got Switchpoint. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Thank you for the invite. I was, I'm always happy to talk. Talk positive about comics. So let's do that.
Yeah, that was also another reason for the stream, was just to exactly that, focus on positivity. I think this community in general tends to get bogged down in negativity. Part of that is the critiquing nature of people like me, where we do reviews and we tend to point out the flaws and things. So it's good, I think, like you said, to have a stream where we just focus on the positive and talk about what we like in comics. So with that in mind, we also have Unranked Chevron. How are you today?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, that's cool. Not too worn out from all your live streams and whatnot yesterday?
Not a lot worn out from the live stream. The reactions have been a little dizzying, but
really?
Yeah.
More so than you expected, or?
Not more so. I mean, I knew it was going to be at least a somewhat of contention. Just, I don't know. Just reading what people think about you when you actually become kind of a big deal. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
For a brief moment. I expect I'll fade into obscurity pretty quickly, but
back
Not
to
my
obscurity.
good thing to say about it. I'll fight for you, Chevron. I'll fight.
Yeah. I mean, you're a good guy. You've been on here a few times. I always enjoy it. So thanks for being here. And so comics, great. So great comics. I guess we're going to pass it off to some of the guests here. Well, Bob, I just told you the topic, so we'll give you a little time, but Switchpoint, I know you're pretty prepared. So what is a comic or two that, you think are great, and why?
Well, I mean, honestly, so first thing, I want to give some love for the return of the Super Sons with Adventures of the Super Sons that actually just recently started back up. Peter J. Tomasi came back to do a 12-issue maxi series, basically. And it's pretty much like almost like he never left the book. I want to point that out. So if you like the original Super Sons, or if you have not read the original Super Sons, read that, then pick this series up. Because definitely, it's almost like if anyone was like a fan of those old World's Finest comics of like Superman and Batman like teaming up and like kind of remind you why these two are like the bestest of friends. Then you kind of like you owe it to yourself to read this, because it's like the next generation is their sons doing it now, and there's even like a lot of great references to like old DC lore and time frames and stuff like that. So definitely worth picking up. So the original series is just the Super Sons, and then it's the Adventures of Super Sons is the follow-up series. That one is one I do highly recommend. Now the next one I would going to definitely recommend is gonna go a little bit like gonna bring back the clock a little bit. I'm gonna recommend the Jeff Johns Aquaman run, just because like no one's read that run. It seems like sure the new 52, like the Rebirth Aquaman was great, but like it kind of started with the Jeff Johns stuff and kind of like worked its way up to this.
And that was in the new 52, that run?
Yeah, it was in the new 52 run.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
Making sure.
Oh yeah, it's just a really fun run of Aquaman of like reminding you just how cool he was. Like there's like a really great scene where there's like a kaiju and he like just jumps down from like a helicopter because he can.
You know, some of those are reprinted in the DC Giants at Walmart. I know the one I picked up, the Justice League one from a month or two ago, it had some of those. It had the trench, or what is it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that one. It had that
was
story arc in there.
that was a fun story arc. I remember that one.
Yeah, so I agree. That's some good stuff. And Super Sons, I'm so glad you brought that up. That was when they canceled that, the first run there, that was just devastating for the fans, like DC Comics fans, because that was really a fan favorite.
Yeah, oh yeah, the numbers were solid on that book, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was there. Well, we know why they canceled it, but it made no sense from the fan standpoint. I know they had to make a clean slate for Bendis to come in, but still.
And that's why some of us don't like Bendis.
One of the reasons.
Well, then he brings the soy. He does bring the soy.
He really does. And he doesn't care about lore.
No, he does not.
Positivity. So, yeah, Super Sons, absolutely. And I was really glad they brought it back, even as a mini. So, that's really good points there, Switchpoint. So, Tristan, how about you? What would you like to talk about?
Well, I kind of stick to my ground with what I read, but started writing for Bleeding Fool, and I got a lot of comics from Aftershock. And I was surprised to see I seen Donny Cates' name, and I started reading Baby Teeth. And for as weird as a comic as that was, I really enjoyed it. Like, I think that's a solid title. And I know he's writing Marvel Knights, so I picked that up this week too. And I don't read Marvel, but for the simple fact that it had his name on it. I think like it's very off the wall for me. It's very sacrilegious. It's very weird, but when you boiled it, wow, all down, you could really get like a good morale behind it. I really like it. So I would say, that one and Batman, of course, obviously, but that would be my favorite in the last, probably month.
That's cool. I did like your review of that too. I hadn't been keeping up with that series at all, but I definitely heard about it a little.
Yeah, it's really good. He's really, the art is a little different and it's really good. He uses a lot of bright colors, but Donny Cates just did a really good job at just taking a very off the wall story and making it very family eccentric, and I liked it.
Interesting. And you came in at like issue 13 and it was still,
Well, yeah, I did come in at issue 13, but I went back and read like 4 of them, and then I kind of watched Comic Book University review on a couple of them, so I made sure I knew what I was reading before I read it, but it was really good. Yeah, I think it's only got a couple more issues, but it's a fantastic run so far.
Oh, I come in and read random issues all the time, like issue 150 or whatever. I was just wondering if it was, you would have been able to understand it without having
to. Oh, yeah. Yeah, in a way, except for sometimes they have a problem of like not giving characters names, where you're kind of wondering who they're talking about, and they have 2 characters that look really similar. So I wanted to make sure, and I do that too. I read random ones all the time, but I wanted to make sure if I was reviewing it, I knew what I was talking about.
That's wise. I get that. Cool. Let's see. Unranked. What's your pick?
Just recently, I really like the Justice League Dark series that they're doing. Witching Hour landed kind of soft. Like it started off good, and then it got kind of weird towards the end. But the overall Justice League Dark series, I think it's a lot better than the old one, which was really didn't make any sense. The old New 52 one, and plus it has Zatanna in it, so there's always that. But but between the art and the writing on that, it's really good. I like a lot of the New Age of Heroes books that are currently out. Obviously, Silencer, The Terrifics, Sideways, The Unexpected, which kind of had a slow start, but I think it got a lot better. And what else? Over at Marvel, Venom is the is probably their most consistently good book, probably the only book that's like worth reading. But that's in like terms of like more recent stuff. That's about all I can think of. But
That's cool. Yeah. You just did a review of The Unexpected. Was it like issue 5 or something?
the one that came out earlier this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incorporating a lot of like deep lore elements of the DC universe. It kind of almost feels like not quite the scope of something like Grant Morrison might do, but they're obviously using a lot of his ideas, like Mandrak, the cosmic vampire.
That's cool.
Yeah, the main bad guy from Final Crisis, who has not been used since then, weirdly enough. But and I guess Sideways, I haven't really been able to read the last couple issues he's been in, but I guess he's doing like this weird cosmic like traveling thing where he's going from one alternate dimension to another. And it looks like he meets the New 52 version of Superman, which is pretty pretty unexpected.
Is that like an offshoot of his regular powers, you think? Rifting from place to place, he just like went to a different
whatever. I don't know. I know the Seven Soldiers took him into the dimension where the bad guys, the city, live. But then somehow, like, then they tried to send him away, and somehow he ended up going to an alternate dimension rather than rather than back home. So, yeah, I don't know. I haven't read it yet, but the issues that I have read, I thought it did do a good job of being kind of like Spider-Man, because it's obviously based on Spider-Man, his look and the way that his hands like make the riffs and stuff. It looks like how Spider-Man does it, but it's kind of like that, but it's also different enough where you don't really notice it too much. And plus, it just goes into the like at first, I really didn't like that they were using the Seven Soldiers, because it's like it just felt like they were just strip mining their own continuity. But the more I thought about it, the more it's like, yeah, I really don't mind. But
that's cool. Yeah, I was happy to see your review of that though, because you know, I'm of two minds about the New Age of Heroes. It's like a love-hate relationship. I've covered it quite a bit on my channel too. I mean, I like it for the most part, for sure. It's just hard because they keep moving people off the books and canceling the books. But yeah, Unexpected, I kind of thought was one of the better ones. I only got issue number 1, but I've been keeping up with it with people's reviews, and you know, I thought it was pretty solid. Derek Tyler in the chat though just informed me and us, I guess, that Unexpected is going to be canceled at issue number 8, so that's kind of discouraging.
A little, yeah. I mean, I'd honestly, I think I'm honestly like for the New Age of Heroes, I was reading a lot of the. I read a few of them, I should say. Like, I mean, I tried Damage. I could definitely see the appeal of Damage. It wasn't my thing. Mm-hmm. Definitely though, it was like very old fashioned Hulk to a degree, like very 80s, 90s style Hulk of like, hey, oh, we just got a Frugal.
A wild Frugal appears.
Yes.
Hey. How you doing there, Captain Frugal?
I think he's getting his mic set up.
Oh, okay, cool. Good. Sorry, go on.
And so that was definitely fun. It was definitely fun for what it was. Like if you were into that like more of the rampaging style Hulk rather than. I personally prefer. I prefer when the Hulk kind of had a bit of a personality and was like able to talk. So around the time frame, like around the Greg Pak days of like the early days when he would do when he did like the World War around the World War Hulk, and then after the World War Hulk stuff, especially, it was a really great scene him like fighting like the god of Zeus, and like Zeus actually like, owns him, like just because he wants to prove that Hulk wasn't like this almighty being. So Zeus actually owns him and is just like, yeah, dude, so you want to come fight a god? You're not a god. Yeah, you may be like the most powerful human out there, but you're not a god. You know. And
that's cool.
Yeah, like it was stuff like it was stuff where there was some nice world building too. But as for the New Age years, my favorites were probably Sideways and the Terrifics were my favorites. And I like Sideways just because there's like that really like almost innocent poking fun of Spider-Man every once in a while that they would do. Like in the first issue, there was like, with great power, yeah, you've heard the rest. Like, you know, as if like they don't care. and stuff like and then there was like stuff like they had like villains that would show up every once in a while that were like little clearly nods to like actual Spider-Man villains and things of that nature. So you're like, okay, that was actually kind of fun.
Yeah, Damage was definitely one of my favorites. I guess it still is. I've fallen behind a couple issues. I picked up, I think, 1 through 5, and then a couple more on digital. Maybe I am caught up. But once Tony Daniel left as the primary artist, that really kind of killed it for me, because that was the main reason I was buying that series. However, I do think it's pretty good. I like the gimmick of him only being able to use his powers once every 24 hours and all that, having some limits on him. But there are some things that are kind of weird about it too, to me, like the power scaling. Like he took on he fought Wonder Woman, he fought Parasite, he fought Giganta, but then he gets taken down by Poison Ivy, which I guess is possible, but like she just wrapped him up with vines and stuff, and I was just like, really? Like this guy supposed to be able to go toe to toe with Superman. I don't think there's enough vines to hold him, but don't underestimate Poison Ivy, I guess. Although she did die in Heroes in Crisis somehow, so who knows what DC is thinking.
I would like to see him go up against what's his name? Like the other guy, like the guy who killed Superman. I can't remember his name right now.
Doomsday?
Yeah, I'd like to see him go up against Doomsday sometime. That'd actually kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be a good match. Who do you think would win in that one?
See, that's the thing, right? I think it would not I don't think either would. I think it'd be like one of those, this is a massive amount of destruction. So you'd have like people like Superman and Wonder Woman and like Green Lantern and them trying to stop it. Like the big guys trying to stop it because like who else can, right?
Didn't Wonder Woman defeat Damage though?
She was able to defeat him, but only because like not of strength, but because like she's because of her her being able to be more agile than him. So she was actually able to like kind of outsmart him in the fight, kind of thing.
Yeah, and like he still got away too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
like it was implied that like he is technically he might be equal in strength there, because like Wonder Woman got a power boost during New 52 to be equal to Superman in strength because whatever reason, I don't know.
Man has limited strength. It's whatever.
Like it's one of those things where I guess it makes sense because like she's her magic power like is what her strength is based off of, so like that technically is unlimited. So and they wanted us to like that they could, because they wanted to do that power couple thing with them during the New 52, which was weird.
Superman and one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, but I think it was like one of those things where I dislike that they got rid of it during Rebirth, because I think they could have easily written off as when Superman was younger, like let's say around 23, 25, he tried dating Wonder Woman because he thought he needed to date someone who was like similar in power to himself. Tried that for about like 6 months to a year, but that didn't work out, so they stopped dating. And then that's when he started dating Lois. I think that's how you could have written that in.
That's a good idea. Just have both stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Have your cake and eat it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or he could just be with both of them.
Oh my. Scandalous.
MK Geiger in the chat made the point that the Hawkman book that DC's doing is also really good, by Vendetti and Brian Hitch.
Yep. One of the best things from DC right now.
Yeah.
We probably should also Captain Frugal and Bob let us know what their favorite books are, either current or past or whatever.
Oh yeah, probably.
So,
are you there, Captain Frugal?
Yeah, I entered late and I heard you were talking about certain books, but I wasn't sure what the topic was or anything, so I just didn't want to interject.
Oh, it's cool. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So it's not, since you weren't here at the beginning, it isn't limited to DC or Marvel even. So it's any comic that you think is great. Feel free to expand on.
Well, as I didn't hear all the discussions here, currently, this week I read the Green Lantern #1, and I read the Incredible Hulk, or Immortal Hulk #8. And I know the Immortal Hulk is divisive. Some people don't like it. one of the things they don't like is that he was cut up and he could reform like that. But I don't think they realize that in the pages of the Hulk, has a massive healing capability. It's just they really haven't shown that as much in the last quite a few years. I mean, he's been blown to pretty much nothing and came back. He's been burnt to the bone and came back. But I understand this is different. It's more of a horror take, and I actually I'm digging it, even though the writer might be a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
I am enjoying the story. I like Damage as well. I've been enjoying that. I find that interesting. I'm still reading Silencer. So let's see. I'm reading quite a few DC books right now. I'm teetering on the Flash though.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't there like this whole thing where like that didn't like the Hulk grow like a new spine in one of his fights or something like that?
He might have. He's had he's had holes blown right through him. I mean, gargantuan holes too, and they just healed up. So I mean, that took his spine out, and he's been able to get through it. It's definitely a different kind of tale. It's going more to the hero, the horror route. You know, Hulk is only coming out again at night, like he did earlier on. It's a bit of a throwback to that.
Well, that sounds like it could be a fun read for sure. I mean,
I'm enjoying it. I would recommend it. Matter of fact, if you're not sure what's going on, I did a review of issue 8. You could check that out. If it looks interesting, maybe give it a try. If not, screw it.
That's fair.
Well, that's a good point to mention. For those listening, everyone here has a YouTube channel, and I've included links to all their channels in the description box. So definitely check out their videos and reviews.
Yeah, my live streams are about to get fancy. So,
yeah,
I finally got Streamlabs working right now. So I'm going to be using Streamlabs. So that's going to be fun.
There you go.
I found a way for people to give me tips like super chats and still screw YouTube and not give that to them. So woohoo!
Yeah, Streamlabs lets you set up. I think is that a PayPal or something of that nature to take.
Yeah, you can go to PayPal or use credit card. There's a couple other methods. I have it set up currently with PayPal.
Yeah,
that way, that YouTube doesn't sit there and get a chunk of it because I'm not going to give YouTube ad revenue. Screw them.
No, I don't blame you. I do not blame you at all. Honestly, the Streamlabs, I've been meaning to switch over because I use OBS. Streamlabs is an offshoot of OBS, but because of the donation feature, I've been thinking of switching over myself to that one.
It switches over really easy because I was using OBS, and it's pretty much the similar setup. If you don't mind me shilling a little bit, Jay Fairclough, I do have Frugal t-shirts now. CaptainFrugal.redbubble.com.
But
There
do you
you
have
go.
coffee mugs?
I do. Coffee mugs. You can even get a Captain Frugal pillow and sleep with me.
Oh my!
I-
Frugal. Is your wife aware of this?
Oh, yeah. She doesn't care. I'm old.
That's amazing. So cool.
You can
So I
even get a
get
clock to watch all 2 minutes of it.
Frugal coffee mug. I might have to do that.
I need like a broken Frugal clock, just like it's right twice in a day.
That might be one time too many.
That's a good point about the Streamlabs, though, because, my channel, I've met the requirements to be monetized for months and months and months now. And, you can't do super chats if you aren't monetized. So I might have to look into that. Streamlabs.
Yeah.
Was it pretty easy? I mean, I'm kind of a novice with these things.
It's pretty easy. If I have a free day, DC fans, I know how to use OBS. I could always, if you have a free day, we can jump into a hangout sometime, and we could probably work on it together.
Yeah, I found using and setting up OBS to be easy. The confusing part was integrating it with YouTube so I could add people to the streams and stuff. But thank you to from help in the community, I now am able to do that. For Marsupio Gamer helped me out with that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool.
There's some really great, there's some great YouTubers out there that'll definitely, if you get in touch with them, will help you. I know if I have a free night or something of that nature, and you want me to help you with it. And that goes out to anyone who wants to reach out. My DMs are open. Reach me out on Twitter if you need to. If you're trying to up the fanciness of your live streams and you want to be like, oh, I want to use OBS or I want to use Streamlabs or something, try to reach out to me. I'm usually pretty good with helping people with that kind of stuff.
He's
Frugal,
awesome with that.
Yeah, I helped Frugal. I've helped. I think I've helped Captain Cummings a few times. I've helped like a few people. I lose track of how the people that I help set up that kind of stuff. So
yeah, Absolutely, yeah. He helped me with that, and so I've had help all the way. I wouldn't have done this myself. I mean, I was able to set up the OBS, but there was just a couple little hitches I just couldn't figure out, and I wouldn't have figured that out myself on this case too, as well as probably not figured out setting up YouTube by myself as well. So a lot of help from these people. I couldn't have done it without them. Absolutely not.
That's cool. This is a good little community we have. People tend to be that way and help each other.
I love
in
it.
my experience, anyway.
All my artwork, everything was community. Nothing for me.
Wow.
That's me. Yeah.
So, Bob Jones, what comic do you think is great?
Well, I'm going to tell you what comic I think it's great, and I'm going to shoot a little bit because it's still in demand until the end of November. And that's T-Bird and Throttle.
Oh,
This
yes.
comic book, the artwork is like the old Bruce Timm various animated series like Batman, Superman, Justice League. Very reminiscent of that. But the story itself is something that I think comic books need. Because instead of it being a deconstructionist of the superhero, it's a reconstruction of the deconstructed superhero.
I will say I'm very interested in reading that book.
I think that's what's missing a lot in comics these days, actually. Like, because like we do the deconstruction, but a lot of writers forget to do the reconstruction.
Well, and that's what makes T-Bird and Throttle so amazing. You start up in the comic, you're seeing this hero, he's down on his luck. Like, if you read issue 0, you see what happens leading up to issue 1. And then coming to issue 1, like the scene that got me, it's a series of scenes where you see T-Bird just sitting there, like, opening up a case, pulling out a pistol, and putting it to his temple. And that was what you could see within the Indiegogo. And oh my goodness, the book was well worth the read. I've read issue 0 and issue 1, and I'm looking forward to reviewing and reading issue 2. Because Josh Howard knows exactly what he's talking about and knows exactly what he's doing. He's had 15 years experience, and even though he mainly does superhero or horror books, his foray into superheroes, I personally believe, has been well received.
I think I'm supposed to yell "woo" like Ric Flair or something at this point. Does that guy wrestle anymore?
No, he's gotten too old to wrestle. He only does like appearances and stuff like that now.
I couldn't name a single current wrestler probably. So
I've never even watched wrestling, so you're doing better than me.
well, I've seen some wrestling in the 80s. I don't think I've seen any since then.
His daughter wrestles now. Charlotte Flair.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's pretty attractive.
Oh, does she like bring in like? Does she try to do the Ric Flair personality?
Not too much, but
oh man, I love that. But
That'd be the best.
So, for Indiegogos myself, actually, there's a few I was actually intrigued by. It's like since we bring up like the Indiegogos, like T-Bird and Throttle.
Yeah.
Like one I'm actually planning to fund soon. Actually, I just haven't had the chance to because just making sure I have the funds before I put into it. But Sugar Lightspeed, and it's so close to its goal, guys. I mean, definitely the art is fantastic, and our girl Sashi did some art for it, so definitely give her some props. And Slick Jimmy's the one writing it and working on it, and he's so nice on Twitter.
Actually, he's one of the people I generally stream with, and so I can tell you he's got a lot of love in his comic. He's put his heart and soul into it, and I hope that it does get funded because it is such an interesting concept and such an interesting character and an original character. And I think that all of you will enjoy it.
And the other contributions, of course, I had to back Brutus. Of course, Donald DeLay's art is always fantastic. I couldn't say no to that. I love that 90s style art he has. Fuck, man, it was just excuse me for my language there, but I couldn't like. Like, okay, when you see guys who like have like that much like that understand the aesthetics of the 90s, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Donald DeLay definitely like really speaks to that, like that kind of like overly muscular characters, overly like exaggerated designs, like the very poppy colors of what like made the 90s pop. Yeah, like it just feels like a book like that came from like that old Image days of like the 90s, man.
Just as long as he doesn't go the Rob Layfield route and not know how to draw feet.
Yeah, those feet are terrible.
Exactly. Man. Then we also have the Maiden Knuckle Bomb. Oh,
Yes.
okay. The closest thing that looks to like a manga meets like an American comic, and you have Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. That is literally what it feels like. And I'm like, I can't wait. The pump is like the pump up is real for that, man.
That one's met its goal too, right?
It had both Brutus and that have met their goal. But if you guys are still interested, for Brutus, I think Donald's is planning to bring it back out if it for a secondary release down the line. So that one's actually kind of closed. But Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb did meet its goal, and I'm sure if you reach out to Kyung Lee, the guy who is the creator, he'll let you know if there's any other way you can promote, any other way you can get your hands on the project if you haven't had a chance to yet on those two. Definitely worth checking out though, for sure.
So, Tristan, you told me the other day that you backed Sugar Lightspeed. Were there any other Indiegogos as well as that one that you wanted to look into?
Critias's book I wanted to look into. I think that one just got fully funded too. And Lone Wolf I'm looking forward to in particular. I mean,
that's cool.
I don't back a lot of them because I'm particular with which ones I do, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Sugar Lightspeed.
That's cool. And apparently there's a G-rated version that you got?
Yeah, there is.
I'm going to give props to Slick Jimmy. Okay, so he created two versions of the book. He had a censored and an uncensored version because he did admit that he wanted the Sugar Lightspeed to have like nudity and violence and all that stuff was in there. And he said that he knew some of it would be a little too intense for some of his readers. So yeah, that is definitely a smart move on his part to make sure it's more viable for other readers too.
That makes sense. Because I've seen some of the stuff. I don't know if it's like for the general public or whatever, but he shows us in the group chat, and I'm just like, whoa, this is some R-rated or X-rated stuff. So it's pretty good. It's definitely tantalizing.
Well, it's one of those characters that you kind of can't help but cheer on and be like, hey, do your thing. Kick some ass, take some names, and I guess you could say look sexy while doing it because that was the idea of the character.
Yeah. Well, definitely, people... Well, there's this whole thing now, too, in comics, right, where you're not supposed to draw sexy men or women, and, it gets a pushback automatically. So I don't know if that was his idea to kind of spit in the eye of those folks, but if so, I can respect that, because really it's like when I got into that whole argument with Patrick Zurcher over how Ed Benez draws Huntress, it's just like, dude, he's a comics pro too. Just he wanted to draw her with little shorts, like, I don't know. To me, it's actually a pretty big issue, I think, saying what people can and can't draw.
Well, heroes, these are superheroes. They're not your everyday average person. These are people to the, best physical capabilities. I mean, let's be honest. Who's going to be able to run and fight for 10 minutes or something like that if they're out of shape? You're going to die. You're going to be in shape, for crying out loud. I mean, I'm sorry. It's getting winter, so I'm starting to do my winter stuff to stay in shape, hitting the treadmill and stuff, and more on the exercise bike. But if I leave that for a month and go back to it, I'm not going to be able to maintain the same level. I can only imagine going out there 2 minutes later, huffing and puffing and getting beat because you didn't have any breath. It's ridiculous that, I'm not saying you can't have out of shape heroes, but think that may be a part of it. They get gassed. Yeah.
Well, to kind of step out of character for a moment, take it from somebody who's sparred for years. I'm a student. Don't think I'm some like martial arts guy that's like black belt or anything. Low student, but just in sparring, it's very tiring, and doesn't matter if it's light, medium, or heavy. When you're sparring, you will have moments where you're just sitting there and you've been going for God knows how long, and you're just like, oh, all I want to do is just stop, but you got to keep going, and you can't do that if you're out of shape. Have a few extra pounds, things like that. You will just be like, it hurts you even more.
Yeah, everything you do costs more energy. It just tires you out.
Like there's a whole thing behind it. Like part of it is you have to have the proper exercise for proper tone, proper musculature. proper eating habits. Those are very important. So, and you're going to tell me like a superhero isn't going, like somebody who has to be sure to save people on a regular basis isn't paying attention to that kind of stuff. I mean,
I saw Liam Sharp tweeted out yesterday because he's been getting some criticism for Green Lantern #1, which I haven't had a chance to read yet. But he said that
Really?
yeah, a lot of people like it, but there's a strong contingent of people that don't like the art in it. I don't know why, but
the art in it.
He
The
tweeted.
art was really good.
But he tweeted out that expecting an artist to draw people realistically is like expecting a writer to accurately encapsulate all of the idiosyncrasies in the way people speak. So all of the oohs and ahs and all the word misusage and all that. It's like, but writers are expected to not put those things in because it reads really badly. So why would an artist draw people in, a supposedly realistic way?
Yeah. And that's an amazing point. I'm going to have to look that up. Was that a tweet he did?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I mean, that's really a big part of it too. Plus too, comics, I mean, obviously there's writing, but it's a visual medium. Yep. People buy it and they look at it. You're going to put down money for something you're going to sit there and stare at. You want it to be pretty idealized.
Well, I mean, like, there's a okay. So, I think a really good representation is like our heroes, the ones that we look up to, like these American comics are. There are version of like people have said this before, but there are version of like Greek gods.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
So, all right. So take that into consideration. The Greek gods are like Adonises. They are like the best of the best. Like when you talk about Hercules, it's Hercules had rippling muscles that would go for days. He could carry the earth in the place of Atlas. And like this is actual things that like they talk about in his actual myth. So you're expecting this guy who's like nothing but muscle, nearly zero body fat, right? That's the way they talk about him. Like this man who would take off his shirt and the ladies would be like, "Oh my!"
Right. And nowadays they want Hercules is a man that can carry a bag of Doritos and a 6-pack of beer.
Like. Yeah, exactly. Like I remember these scenes. I used to watch the old Hercules TV show, the one with Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah,
and there's this really like this one scene that I like that really stood out to me when I was younger, but I rewatched it when I was older, and it makes sense. Is there's a scene where he's like his shirt comes off and like he bathes himself in water, and the two girls are looking at him like, and you're like, that makes sense though, because like it's Hercules, like it's the guy that every guy wants to be, right?
Right.
And
so like.
And throughout history, even the guy who every guy wanted to be.
Yeah, like it's like, and he's not the only one. Like, take a look at like Zeus. Like when they mention Zeus, they talk about like, this man who's strong enough to hold thunder and make it its and like become its master. Like that in and of itself, right? Like you have to imagine that this is this guy who's like beyond what you would expect any human could even reach, right? Like,
yeah. And when they talk about the female gods, it's just as much so idealized.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's something like it's not something. It's something to you can't reach. It like it's never spoken to as something that you yourself could become someday. It's always spoken as something that's completely out of reach, but something you're supposed to look up to. That's what it is.
Or strive to reach.
Yeah, exactly. Like. You could probably never get to it, but like if I could strive to reach to it, if I could like work my hardest to become like that, then maybe I'll even like be a percentile that good someday.
Well, that's the other thing that a lot of people tend to forget about comic books is the fact that these are people that are supposed to represent the best of us. That like Superman is supposed to always be that Boy Scout that no matter what, he always tries to do the right thing. Yeah, he could, with a snap of his finger, basically cause a massive shockwave and kill an entire room of people just because they pissed him off. But the fact that he has the self-control to never do that and always strives to do the right thing and do right by the way he was raised and so on and so forth. And people like Bendis, Bendis will never understand that because Bendis would love to have that power. And Bendis would be the type to abuse it. He would snap his finger and kill an entire room of people just because they had a different political belief than him.
Maybe.
Hmm.
I don't know. But I don't know about that. But what I don't like about Bendis's writing is just that he's changing the lore on Superman. Like things that have been in place for a very long time, like how Krypton was destroyed, for instance, or what Kryptonians are still alive other than Superman, and all these little details that are like, why do you need to rewrite that at this point?
Well, I mean, like, it was already established was Kryptonians were alive, like, like from Krypton. Like, we had Mon-El for a reason. We had his cousin Supergirl for a reason. We had, like, you know what I mean? Like, Krypto was there. You know,
they said in that
yeah,
was it Man of Steel or whatever? Oh, when the Ragor, the new bad guy, came out, the new one who destroyed Krypton, he said that he killed all the Kryptonians except for Superman and Supergirl.
Yeah.
So that changes things like that. That's it. There's no other Kryptonians but those two.
I mean, I know the stream is supposed to be
what
positive.
he knows.
Yeah,
I mean, he might not be aware.
Yeah. I know the stream is supposed to be positive, but there's a reason why Rogol Zar doesn't work, and like somebody like Lex Luthor does. So
yeah,
like if you don't mind me going off on a tangent a little bit, because like Superman is one of my favorite heroes, and I know he's yours as well, DC. So in this case scenario, like in this, okay, so Rogol Zar doesn't work because Rogol Zar's plan was, I'm going to destroy Krypton from like the inside out, like literally going into the core, right? So the thing is, there was enough time for Jor-El to find out that the core is being destroyed, but like no one knew it was some person. Rogol Zar then told the Guardians of the Galaxy, like the Guardians, like Aboa, oh, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And he told the Universe Gods as well that he was going to do this. Like, he told a lot of people he was going to do this, so he went to do it. No one tried to stop him. Like, he was there potentially for months, and no one tried to stop him.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of problems. I just don't like, too, Superman's personality when he fights the guy in Action Comics 1000. He's just, he's a wimp, basically. He's not smart. He just keeps asking the bad guy questions, stupid questions, and gets smacked down. And freaking, Supergirl's awesome, but she had to save his butt like several times. And I was just like, really? What the hell? Superman's not a trash character like that. That's,
I think what bothered me even more is there's that new girl. These guys like replacing Lois, and she's getting a mini series for whatever reason. I'm like, she hasn't even been around for a year, and you're already giving her a mini series.
Oh, DC. But they have to cancel Unexpected because
for low sales, unfortunately. But
well, yeah, this is true. I don't know.
All those New Age heroes books, unfortunately, really did not take off in terms of sales.
Is every single one of them getting canceled then?
Terrifics did okay, if I remember correctly.
Immortal Men got canceled at issue 6.
Yeah.
I'm
enjoying Silencer. Damage.
Silencer was doing okay, I thought.
No, not really. I thought almost all of them were in that like really low level of like 10 to 13,000 or so.
Last time I checked, I thought it was in the 20s.
Maybe.
I'll look.
I know Silencer's got trades now too.
I thought Terrifics was actually around the 20s or 30s because like that one had that one actually did have like some popularity behind it, like not a crazy amount, but enough for it to like maybe last for a little longer. But maybe I'm wrong.
Terrifics and Silencer, I mean, we're talking like sub 40,000 for sure, probably sub 30,000. So it's just debatable on how bad it is. But those two are definitely doing the best from what I saw.
Honestly, I would like to say that I would like to see the Terrific stay around because they were a nice team. I liked them, and they were actually definitely I don't know. It was just like the interaction of the four characters. Like it felt like a nice callback to Fantastic Four, but very different enough that it was like its own thing at the same time. But that's again, you can't get everything you want.
No, and I still give DC a lot of credit for even trying to launch the new line. Maybe if they had backed it up more and advertised more, I don't know.
I think the biggest problem came in, like, not the new line wasn't a bad idea, but I think the biggest problem came in when there was a change of the head. So they went over from Jeff Johns back to Dan Didio, and because Jeff Johns stepped down as like the head of DC, and that I think kind of led to some weird change of like plans of what should be done for the company moving forward. And I think that's kind of like where we kind of get this whole Bendis on Superman. This is where we get the more of a push on finally getting the DC Black Label out, but like not the way we expect it to be. Potentially even some of the Vertigo line prints are what DDO wanted. I'm not really sure, but like what it is definitely you can see where you can kind of see where DDO took over, because like it's around the time that a lot of the changes started taking effect. Because Rebirth was really what Johns wanted to do. He wanted to try to bring back like the older fan, but DiDio never wants that. He always like Heroes in Crisis is a more DiDio idea than a Johns idea.
Just for a tidbit of information, Terrifics number 8, based on Chromicron, was 21,240 units.
Oh, okay. It's not great, but it could be a lot worse.
Silencer was 10,970 units for issue 9, so that's in big trouble.
Yeah.
And those are probably the two best doing.
Let's check
doing
out
the
Damage
best
here. Yeah, I like that one too. Damage number 9 was at 12,383, so not good.
Wow. I always think these books are doing better because I see people posting about them, but I'm just friends with the few people that are buying them, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot to get somebody to take a shot at a new title, and that's part of the reason why Marvel would rebadge new heroes under those titles, because they didn't have to establish a new name. It takes work, and maybe these characters can still work if we see them in other books and build them up more.
Well, I think part of the problem too, you look at Terrifics is at 20,000, but the fifth best-selling book probably didn't even sell 100,000. So
fifth best-selling was 2, 3, 4, 5, 95,483. Batman Damned number 1.
Batman Damned number 1 sold 95,000 copies in a country with 1/3 of a billion people. Oh my goodness! It's no wonder Fix is down there.
Well, you also got to take into account this is like Batman Damned would have, like, a lot of these books would have probably sold better if, quite frankly, DC didn't. And I hate to say this, and I know you're trying to keep this positive, but let's be honest, Dan Didio is the worst thing to happen to DC. He's just pretty much went, oh, these are all the things that are working. I'm going to throw that out, and I'm going to do what I want to do because of my social justice.
Well,
it's a shame honestly,
this isn't here.
DiDio is not exactly the smartest move for DC in regards to the scenario, because like I'm gonna give DiDio like props to some degree. Like he's a decent writer. Like Sideways is his book. He's writing that, and like he's a decent writer for that book. But
yeah,
his overall like gimmick. Like I want to point out his big thing for New 52 is he kept trying to kill Nightwing. That was actually one of the things he wanted to do through that run. He finally got what he's wanted, but I guess one of the editors like said screw you, and then that's when we got Grayson. So like you see my point here, right? Like it's one of those things where it's DiDio thinks that no hero should have like a happy ending. Because he thinks like all heroes are doom and gloom. Like, but no, people want that happy ending. People want that hero. Like, then what are you fighting for if not for the happy ending?
I know I love a happy ending.
Oh my.
Well, no. I mean, it's like you said, it's all doom and gloom in almost every book you pick up now. And I like horror books and things too. But you've got to get the heroic win once in a while. We don't get it a whole lot anymore. There's always the hero has some kind of, well, I lost this, but I got this. So that it's a very monotone, mundane win. Whatever happened to just, Spider-Man pounding Fire Lords? Like, oh my gosh, this is what happens if you get Spider-Man pissed off. You just don't see that anymore.
Well,
I'll go ahead.
Actually, that reminds you, like you kind of like, this is actually kind of what the biggest problem with Clone Saga was. Right?
That's actually a good point. It was too gloom and doom.
Yeah, like the problem is like it kept dragging on. Like like Peter's woes is like, oh, what if what if she's still alive? What if I'm not the real Peter Parker? What if? And you're like, God dang it, man, just end this thing already.
That's a valid point. I mean, like, may I say, I still, to this day, hate Ben Reilly because of that damn series and how they handled that whole situation.
No, I don't blame you.
Hey, Braylon.
How they killed him and turned him into a bag of flour? Or?
We have another guest. Looks like Mega Gears has made it.
Oh, what link finally worked?
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was, man. I was fooling with that for like the last 15 minutes. Yeah.
Glad to have you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Glad to be here.
Nerdette, somebody's asking what your favorite comic is.
Like of all time or that's current?
You can. Jay Farclough asked the question, so I don't know. He didn't really specify just what your favorite comic was.
Just say your favorite of all time and your favorite current one.
Currently, Heroes in Crisis. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really liking it. It's that book that I really, really love to hate. Of all time, probably Killing Joke and Death in the Family. So I don't really, go outside of my shell a whole lot, but I think the way that Heroes in Crisis is going, I was so mad the first day I read it. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to pick this up again. This is awful. Arsenal's dead. I'm so pissed. And the next day I read it and I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty good. The art style's really good. Harley is actually likable for once. And then the second one came around and I did this exact same thing with Ivy. I was so mad. And I don't know. It's one of those that when I wake up, the day it comes out, I'm like, yes, I finally get to read something good. So that's a good comic to me, is when you look forward to the next one.
I have opposing views on that.
A lot of people do. See, but I really like Tom King. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like how he ended 57 of Batman with KG Beast and stuff. I kind of.
I think we lost DC fans. Hopefully, he makes it in time before the live stream cuts off.
Oh my god!
You pissed him off that much.
I guess so. He really hates Heroes in Crisis.
No, I couldn't get into. I got tired of all the events, so I didn't really bother with Heroes in Crisis. But I am. I'm definitely since we're on it, my favorite of all time right now, I would say. Ooh, that's a toughie because I really do. I'm gonna give for right now. I'm gonna have to come back to that because I don't really know what my right now my all-time favorite is. Oh, he made it just back in time. But my favorite of all time, overall, would probably go. I really do like the Killing Jokes are really good, but I also I'm also gonna go for the All-Star Superman with Grant Morrison.
Nice.
Because I know the book always gets touted as this amazing book, and you know what? It's just it's one of those things if you've read it, it's one of those books I always recommend read it before read it as one of your first Superman books, and then come back to it after you read a whole load of Superman books, and you'll it's one of those things where you're you may not understand it at first, but you'll definitely appreciate the story the first time you read it. But then after you've read all this stuff, lore, and all that stuff about Superman, and then come back and read it, you're a lot of stuff starts to really click in just how important all this stuff is to him. Because it's the book reads of Superman has 1 year left to live. If you're the greatest person in the world, what do you do in that 1 year? And treat each issue as it's a day or a week or just that, a short month or some time period in his life while he's getting ready for that last year of his life. That's the best way to look at it.
I'm still fuming over Tristan saying Crisis.
You don't like
it? I respect your opinion, but you're wrong.
No, it's not bad.
The couple of reasons why is one is, I just don't buy it. They killed off, Wally West and Arsenal. It just doesn't seem genuine. It's these characters are going to come right back. It's going to have some kind of ending.
Yeah, I agree.
And on top of that, there's a therapy place for all these heroes. And I'm sorry, Batman is not the therapy kind of guy. He's not going to sit there and, oh, woe is me. His therapy is going out in the streets and knuckling to somebody's face. Yeah,
true.
That's just me, though. And as I said, I respect your opinion. I just think you're wrong, but you think I'm wrong. So.
See, but that's my thing. I think, and they've got Booster Gold, he's time traveler. We know that Wally and probably Arsenal are not coming back. I mean, are coming back. Sorry. Obviously, they're coming back, but I still think it's either something is going on with like Psycho Pirate or somebody is making. Because you're right, that's not Batman, and Tom King writes Batman currently, so he knows how to write him. He's been writing him for forever, so why would he write him that in a weird way? I still think something more is going on that's going to be revealed later.
Hey guys, I've got a weird conspiracy that just came to mind. So I read the first issue of Justice League Odyssey, right?
Yep.
And Darkseid shows up in there, right? I don't know if Mr. Miracle is in continuity. It probably isn't. They don't specify. It may or may not be, right?
King, I thought
and
he said
Tom King's writing, and he's okay. Well, if it is, Tom King's also writing Mr. Miracle. There's a whole thing with the anti-life equation. I'm just saying, it would be kind of crazy if it was like the whole thing was the anti-life equation, like just screwing with everybody. That would be pretty cool, but it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think that is the case in Mr. Miracle, right? Pretty much?
It is. It is what's going on in Mr. Miracle. Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be. I mean, I haven't read as far as it is, but just everything is so dark and like not the way it should be. It's like gotta be. So I think you're right. And what Tristan, you were saying too about the Psycho Pirate being involved in Heroes in Crisis, I think you might be right on that.
But I think there's a good chance that he. No, I mean he's not yet, as in showed up, but I think he might be.
Well, didn't they they hinted at the beginning of the series that he might be dead, right? And then. But like it turns out, like some people are theorizing that it's not really him that was dead; that like it might be like a double or something. So it wouldn't surprise me,
Yeah, that's exactly, and that's why I think everyone's acting so strange, or it's something more mental. I don't know why. It's one of those that I really just love to hate it because it's so off the wall. It's so written differently than most, and especially like with Superman, sitting there right two panels next to each other saying his, who he is, and then saying, but I'm Superman. It just wouldn't happen. He wouldn't say that being recorded, even if it was in 24 hours gone. I don't care. That just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Had that in there. Like no one, let alone Batman, would believe that it would be deleted after 24 hours.
Well, it's like all the superheroes, period, linked up. I
mean, this might just turn out to be like another, identity crisis. Just a lot of bullshit happening for the sake of bullshit.
Identity crisis.
I'm sorry, I had to bring that up.
Too soon. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, if you want a controversial one that I liked recently, I read Grant Morrison's Wonder Woman Earth 1 Book 2. I thought that was okay. Actually, I think I don't understand where I kind of understand where the controversy around it is coming from, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel like it's just Grant Morrison being Grant Morrison overall. You know what I mean? And him being like, I want to play with some like weird things that are currently happening like in current political spheres, but at the same time, like not making it overtly part of the story, but at the same time, kind of like have it as an underlying thing in the story. And the Wonder Burger I thought was weird but funny at the same time. Like it made sense. At least they made sure to and if you take a look at the design notes in the back, they actually had like multiple designs for the Wonder Burka. It was and it was only used because she was in the Middle East. She literally admits I'm only wearing it because I'm literally here in a Muslim country. So as soon as she's done saving the people there, she stops wearing it. So I'm like, okay, that would make sense. I mean, she is a diplomat, so that would make sense that she'd want to represent the group, the place that she's in properly.
Yeah, that's how they always explained why she wore red, white, and blue, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why she wore the red, white, and blue in the original comics. I know. Then little things like that. And I do like that whole point where there's the whole point Dr. Psycho is the main villain, and there's that he gets his actual upcomings at the end of the book where it's just a bunch of girls come in to stop him, and I think the line there really makes it work because it's it's one of those manipulator type guys who's and it's just and he's using that suave tell girls what they want thing, but it's but he's not using it to for pleasure of both himself and the girl. He's just using it only for himself and his own gains. So yeah, ladies, get him. Like, and it made sense because it wasn't saying like, oh, being like a ladies' man is a bad thing. It was saying that no, this guy who's particularly using it just for his own gains is bad. I'm like, yeah, okay, I can get behind that. That makes sense. You know? So, but I think that's like I'm putting more effort onto Grant Morrison for that, and I think it's because I like him as a writer. So.
That's cool.
Also, the art's fantastic in that series. Just the Wonder Woman Earth 1 series. Great art. Great art. But that's Danik. That's Ket that's doing the art there.
Yeah.
I did like the Earth 1 Superman.
The only Earth one I read that I bought was Green Lantern. I thought that was pretty good, but I haven't read any of the other stuff.
I do recommend the Superman ones. You're gonna see a little bit more angsty, but like it's like an angsty Superman done right, in my opinion.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
I read all 3 volumes, and yeah, I thought it was really good. Plus, you got the Shane Davis art. I thought he did a good job.
The Batman one's if you're a really big Batman fan, you may not like it because you're gonna see it like a really big side of like Batman really messing up because Jeff Johns is writing it. But like part of me is like I like seeing him being humiliated to some degree in it, and
well, he got humiliated when we seen him naked. That's for sure.
Oh my! But
every
like,
man's like, I'm bigger than Batman.
The Batman one is like you're gonna see stuff where it's like grappling hook messes up. You're gonna see stuff where Alfred has to save them, things like that, because like they're really pulling this is really early in his career excuse.
It's not even like year one though, right? It's like worse than that.
Yeah, it's like almost like this is like Batman year 0. Like no one even like Batman.
It's like if I were Batman.
Yeah, like it's like
not that.
Yeah, it's like I haven't even learned how to do karate yet.
Yeah, he's new.
Yeah,
I think year 1 did it perfectly. You know, he's not Bat God, but he's still pretty good. You know, better than average.
I think part of me is like, yeah, year 1 probably still the best. But Earth 1 isn't too bad. Like, if you get over these like small gripes of it, it isn't too bad. Like, there's like a really good moment where, like he's still not a detective yet. So there's a really good moment where he like messes up like a crime scene, and like literally, there's like Commissioner Gordon there is like, you know that counts as tampering with evidence. It's just like, you're new to this, aren't you? Like, yeah, like that would make sense to me. Like maybe like when he is starting out, he may have not known how to properly like collect evidence.
It seems plausible.
Yeah. So little things like that, I definitely like to see.
That's cool.
Yeah, I feel like it did take a little bit too far though. I remember reading that one and being like, this is not the real Batman. The other ones, like the other Earth ones that I've read, they seem like that they were at least pretty legitimate takes on the character, even if they were pretty different. Like the Green Lantern one was really different, but
actually, I want to say this. Can we get Michael Straczynski on Action Comics and get Bendis off of it? Straczynski,
he used to be
like Straczynski, like understands Superman really well,
or Tomasi.
or Tomasi.
He actually wrote a pretty controversial arc. It was like a 12 issues arc called Grounded back in, I don't know, right before the New 52, I think.
Nobody likes it. I liked it.
I liked Grounded. The thing is, it's like like, okay, I get it. Like, if you're not, it does seem a little out of character, but like, granted, with like, if you read the New Krypton story arc, it makes sense that he would do something like that afterwards.
There you go. I love New Krypton as well.
Yeah, like, because New Krypton, a lot of stuff happened after New Krypton, like a lot of stuff. So Superman has to accept the fact, like, what if the people that I'm saving don't really trust me or know who I am? So the idea of Grounded is him like visiting all these people and trying to get them to like be like, I need you to trust me as much as I trust you, right? Like, it makes sense because it's like, if you saw the events of New Krypton, it's just like, well, after we saw what Kryptonians can actually do, can we really trust Superman? Right?
Yeah. Humans and Kryptonians had a war, basically.
I don't trust anybody in a cape.
Edna Mode would love you then.
I thought it was supposed to be a tunic. You're never supposed to touch someone in a tunic.
Oh, my mistake.
Did Mega Gears get to talk about his?
I don't think so.
I don't know. It's kind of all over the place. It kind of depends where I'm reading, because I guess at the moment, what is my favorite comic?
Doesn't even have to be your favorite.
Okay, well, I guess for right now, currently I'm in the middle of reading, because of Comixology Unlimited, I'm reading Daredevil. Was it Reborn or was it Born Again? Yeah, obviously, with Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. That graphic novel. So I'm reading that right now. That's pretty good. I've really dug Star-Lord, the Marvel Presents run, which is kind of weird because it's got a very pulp sci-fi vibe to it. And let's see, what else? I've kind of been going back and forth reading Jim Valentino's run of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I've kind of been all over the place reading X-O Manowar and all that type of stuff. So it's kind of been a little bit of everything. So I guess I would say Star-Lord, and Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm still reading Jim Steranko's Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, that's good. That's real good.
Yeah, it gets kind of psychedelic after a while once Kirby and Stanley leave and Steranko takes full writing and art credit. I'm like, whoa, this feels very like 60s psychedelic, like secret agent type thing going on. And it's really fun. It's out there. It's a little weird at times, but I'm enjoying it.
Oh yeah, there's been some really good indie books recently coming out. I've been noticing too. Like,
That's all I've been reading.
I really liked. Okay, so Mirka Andolfo, I love her art. And when Unnatural started getting translated, I was like, I need to read that and see what that's all about. And the first issue is a little slow. I'm not even going to try to lie about that, but like after that, it starts to pick up, and like the story of the intrigue starts coming in, of like the questions about what's right or wrong, and this like really strongly controlled, almost like government, like fully government controlled society of like who you're allowed to have sex with, who you're allowed to like live with, what you're allowed to do in like life, stuff like that.
That's like marriage.
Kind of, yeah. No. The art is really fantastic. I like it. There's some interesting points where like little things where they kind of like where you learn about like back dealings that the government has because like they want to keep people in control, and so what they do, like little bribes they make to people. So I was like, what the heck? Like shit, like this shit's like ridiculous. And then it's like that one, and what was it? The Weatherman also. Oh, the Weatherman got me on the first issue, man. I was like, I liked the art style, very like very sci-fi, like very like it kind of reminded me of like what would be the best way to say, like cyberpunk, kind of like that kind of style of art. And so like I picked up the first issue and it just got me like right away. It was just, imagine if you're a guy who made a crime and people are after you, but here's the trick: you don't remember you did the crime.
You made a crime?
Like
let's say you killed 100,000 people, like maybe 1 million people.
Like, so like Memento, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, like Memento. Like this guy, the main character is a weatherman because he's a weatherman. But like what happened was, he doesn't remember doing this, but he did the crime of killing, like destroying the Earth. So they're on Mars. Like the story takes place on Mars. So whoever survived is on like another colony on Mars. He doesn't remember doing the crime, but he has people after him because he did the crime. Because people now remember that he did it. Because he changed, like when he did the crime, he changed his, like he erased his memory after doing the crime, and he changed his look because he got plastic surgery in the whole 9 yards. He doesn't remember doing it. So the question you have to ask yourself, well, do I kill the guy who did the crime now or not?
I would say still, but
take that sucker out. Forget it.
Like that's the thing, though. That's what makes the story really great. So, like, we're following him. We're following another girl who's a cop, who is the one who was like told to bring him in. we're follow like and like so this story is basically those two, but like at the same time, it's a really intriguing story. This is what I love about it. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like it's really bringing up the point. Like he's lived an entire different life than he's had before, so he doesn't remember even doing this stuff.
Yeah, he's a different person essentially.
Yeah.
That sounds really like a good read.
Oh, it's really fantastic. I highly recommend it.
Another one for my long list. I mean, I just got 80 books from Alterna. I'm behind.
Man, that's a lot.
I really just started getting my Alterna books too. Exilium is really fun.
If you like cyberpunk, I would probably recommend checking out New Way. It's got a cool like I guess kind of has like a boxing MMA type thing, but that's not the whole story. It starts off like that, but it's pretty much everyone further gets involved, like getting all like these augments and cybernetic enhancements and all that type of stuff. And everyone just gets wrapped in a virtual reality and all this other type of craziness. It's pretty interesting. I'm only like issue 4, so I'm still waiting to see how it pans out. It's by Aspen Comics, but it's pretty good read though.
New Way, you said it was called?
Yeah, New Way. NUWAY.
Okay.
Aspen's pretty good, isn't that? Was that Michael Turner's company?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I like that they've kept his art style as much as possible.
Oh yeah.
It's really a shame. I mean, obviously, it's really a shame he died, but imagine how much bigger Aspen Comics would be, because it was almost exactly 10 years ago he died.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's right, actually. I think he died in.
I thought it was 2008.
I do believe so. I think it was like May 2008.
Yeah. It's good Aspen's still around, though.
Well, they tried to definitely keep it alive in his honor, kind of thing, and that was really good. I know. I loved the Supergirl run that he worked on, though. That was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Man, his art was so good.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I just find it's one of those. I never knew the artist's name until I saw a post on Twitter actually where someone's like was commemorating his death, and I was like, wait, who's he? And I went and because I remember recently had found my wizards and was going through them, and then I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, oh, so that's why you can't find any comics of his anymore. I'll be
It
the
was
first.
harder to find out about stuff back then, too.
Oh yeah, well, I've never cared who the writer or the artist is, except for like Chris Claremont. He's one of the few that I did, and Todd McFarlane. He's one of the other ones. I just cared that it was good, and if you did good, then you know what I mean. That just means I was more enthralled in my comic than in finding out who you were.
I want to point out that his Fathom series back in the day, though, like the first time he left and started doing something of his own was, I think that was Fathom was the first one, or it might have been like a little bit after, but that was really starting to gain popularity before he passed away. Like the reason that one isn't as like big as it could have been, because I think that actually had a reason to like almost actually like be considered, oh yeah, that's going to be as good as like DC or Marvel or as popular as those guys, right? Or at least as popular as like I would say IDW or Image.
Yeah.
And the reason it just didn't hit was because he started getting those, like, you know, he had to start going to the hospital. He started having like those problems, and that's after he passed away, right? It was like, okay, like, so honestly, like his art is so fantastic that when he was starting to do his own thing and he was starting to gain like popularity, it was just like, and I was like, it was just the worst time for it to happen to him. Like, you know?
Yeah. It was really, I mean, he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
Like, early 40s too. But yeah, he was really amazing. And Fathom, they still put out Fathom.
They do. Yeah, there's still people who follow the series. Like it's still has like its following, but like it's one of those things. Without him there, I don't think the series is going to get the popularity that it was starting to get with him on it. Right, like as soon as you change artists, then people might jump off. Like it was his baby, obviously, it was his. And then, yeah, this is what happens after, like, you know, you lose the guy that's part of it, right?
I really liked his Justice League of America art when Brad Meltzer was writing.
Oh, yeah, yes.
He did a lot of covers, and then Ed Benez did a lot of the interiors, but Michael Turner did some of the interior stuff, too. It was a good run.
Definitely.
I actually like that. That would be a great comic run. I think that whole Lightning Saga, kind of late 2000, in the late 2000s, like 2008, 2007, right in there. You get Brad Meltzer and Michael Turner, and yeah, I mean, it was Brad Meltzer like can write well when when he isn't trying to kill everyone off. So I actually thought that run was pretty good. There's in particular, it's cool. It's a team up book, like that arc. So you have the Justice League, the the Justice Society of America, and the Legion of Superheroes, all three working together. So it's like all the superheroes you could want.
Oh yeah,
Heroes all the time.
Yeah.
All here. Actually, I'd like to hear other people's like indie ideas of like just really good indie, like ones that are currently out that you think people really should be reading.
Wanpool
Yeah.
for sure.
Wanpool.
That was a fun read. I read the first issue.
Yep, and Troy's working on trying to get the second one finished and everything, so he can get it out. It's a shame Pokemon didn't get funded on IGG because one of the goals, if they had got enough backers, was to actually put out physical copies of Wanpool and Red Ninja Momichi.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
And just didn't Rags say they'd throw in a copy too? I saw that recently.
I've been really enjoying Rags. That's really
Yeah.
I think that's a fan favorite. Like everybody likes Rags.
and it's a lot deeper. If you don't read it, you think, okay, it's some bimbo running around half naked shooting zombies. But if you read it, it's a lot deeper. I mean, just we even assume she's fighting zombies, and there's a lot of depth in this book.
Are you vacuuming or something, Bob?
no? Why?
Oh, that might be my laptop. It's not a very powerful one.
Someone's making some kind of weird clicking, thumping noise.
I hear something in the background there.
I mean,
it's not a big deal. I just thought it.
All right.
No, hold on, let me see.
Oh, did Bob? Oh, no, there he is. Okay, sounds better.
So it was me?
Must have been. I don't know. It's all good now, though.
I muted my mic there for a minute.
Okay. Yeah, it might have been just some background noise or something that it might have picked up on.
I know I always sound best when my mic is muted.
Oh,
Frugal. No, you have Frugal has a great voice actually. Like I like his he's got a very good like radio style like voice that
I know.
Like I like that he has like a very like the old fashioned kind of like those like old radio jockey style voices. I love it.
I have to laugh at myself though. A few times now, I start to talk and realize, oh, I have my mic muted, and I'm going for a minute or so. I was like, oh, no wonder everyone's talking over me.
At least you haven't done like Sargon. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. What did he do?
Oh, this was a couple weeks ago, but he was streaming and he talked for like 20 minutes, literally like 20 freaking minutes with his mic muted. And he had like 20,000, this is Sargon. So he had like 25,000 people watching, but he'd turned he wasn't watching the chat and it was just him streaming. So he had no idea it was muted. Like, he just rolled with it, but like, I would have been so embarrassed. I can't even imagine people were DMing him and Skyping him like, we can't hear you. You're just talking to yourself.
If you don't mind me sharing a comment, Eric Breen said, Frugal has a voice made for radio. Silence.
Let me kick him. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I love it. He's so awesome.
No, I'm just kidding.
He gives me such pleasant ribbings.
Oh no, Eric's been around for a while now.
Yeah, I know. He comments on my videos too. He's a good guy.
Absolutely amazing. This community, I swear this community is fantastic. As much as I hear about fighting all the time and everything, if you look that's not the majority. The majority of these people in this community are just fantastic people.
Like how many times have we just gotten into conversations about like our favorite runs in a book or our favorite like superheroes or our favorite like indie books or just favorite like little things like that. We're just talking about like sharing books that we picked up with each other. You know what I mean? Like the community is great for all of that, and then some. And then being able to help each other out is like, oh man, I wish I had an avatar. Oh, like what do you want? And then like somebody draws something for you, and they Photoshop something for you, helping you with like your YouTube stuff, like making sure you're like all that stuff. So positive, such a like I love that kind of stuff. Like we clearly help each other out, and it's great.
Absolutely.
My current Twitter profile picture is actually a picture that Avid Comic Reader did for me. Just out of the blue, he sent it to me. Basically, he drew my profile pic beforehand, and I was like, "That is awesome. That is my new profile pic."
Avid's a good guy too.
Mm-hmm.
So this is funny. Lethal Lightning's in the chat. He's a good guy. He's also got a YouTube channel, and he helped me out a lot when I started out on YouTube. So I'd highly recommend his channel if you like games. But anyways, he got here a little late, so he missed. We were talking about Heroes in Crisis, and he said his favorite book was Killing Joke. So I think he's kind of on the same page as Tristan. So
Great minds think alike.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a plea to DC right now. Re-release Killing Joke in the original colors.
Yeah, you don't like the redo, huh?
Like, okay, so I wanna have both copies. I want to have the original colors as well as the redo colors. I know I could buy the original colors; it's a bit expensive, but like honestly, I want that. So that deluxe edition they released. I want like the perfect edition where it has the new colors, the original colors, and design notes on the back.
The absolute edition.
Yes.
I know the one paperback, the DC Universe by Alan Moore. I think that has the original colors in it for Killing Joke.
I might have to take a look at that then if that is the case. It's just one of those things where, I'd also like to see them re-release the movie in the original colors too, like, and get rid of the Batgirl part at the beginning. That part's
oh yes, please.
Like honestly, every time I watch the movie, I just fast forwarded that part.
Every time, oh man, I haven't watched that more than a couple. It's pretty bad.
I watched it once.
Once you get to the Killing Joke part, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's a very faithful adaptation after once you get to the Killing Joke part. Personally,
the animation's a little weak, but I guess it could have been worse.
Oh, I'll give you that. The animation is not the best, but like overall, I'm pleased with it.
A DC animated movie, usually they're much higher standard.
But, well, they've gone downhill.
I don't know though. The Death of Superman, I thought, was one of the better animated ones since like Flashpoint.
Yes.
I hear good things though, and I actually haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
It's really good.
I know they're doing Reign of the Superman afterwards as well, actually. So
that's part of why it's good. They're doing it in 2 parts. What's that, Bob?
I was about to say that they should actually be releasing that here within the next month or so, because it's supposed to come out the end of this year, if I remember right.
Okay, I might have to watch both of those then, and because it's one of those ones where like the original Death of Superman movie wasn't bad, but like it kind of falls apart in the second half.
Oh yeah, Superman Doomsday.
Yeah,
because
they try to put like all of it into one rather than like break it up properly.
Yes,
and so I will definitely like have to take a look at this one. It sounds like it's like a more proper. I would like to see them doing a proper adaptation of the All-Star Superman because the movie I felt like it was rushed.
You got to do 12 issues in like 90 minutes or something.
Yeah, well, okay.
They could have maybe, but I don't know.
Okay, well, when you do Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, right? You do that and you do 2-part movie because you realize how big the scope of that story is. Right. Why can't you do the same thing for All-Star Superman?
That's a good question.
And may I say that they did do a really good job with that. The RoboCop voicing Batman was a good call. Like he did a fantastic job. And like the fact that they got that final speech where Batman's all like, "I want you to remember that I'm the one man that beat you." It's like they did it right.
Oh yeah,
even though Batman cheated.
Well, Oh,
Wait a minute, cheated? Can there really be a cheat in a fight?
well, in that type of fight, no, there really can't be. Because Superman, he hears practically everything, and he moves faster than the speed of light. It's pretty
Well, does
beat
he move faster than the speed of light?
Yes, he does. He can, if I remember right, he went from the Death Battle did their whole Superman versus Goku. They went into detail about how fast he actually is, but he moves like something like 18,000 times the speed of light when he's flying.
He does move faster than the speed of light. Death Battle also has some of his information incorrect on that regards, but yes, he does move faster than the speed of light.
I did like that he beat Goku, and then they did it again. They made them, they redid the battle, and he beat Goku a second time. I was just like, yes. It's like they proved their point, and then they prove their point again. They're just like, Superman is.
We're not changing anything.
They just we upped the animation, I guess. I don't know.
No, the thing that bothered me about that is the fact that they're like, well, because some fans are complaining because of the new God form and things like that, and then they're still saying that it was biased for Superman. It's like, dude, it's Superman. He is literally meant to be the guy that has no limitations. He can do anything.
So, here's the thing, though, and I agree, Superman has no limitations, and I think that in most cases, yes, there are times Superman will probably beat Goku, but there are some weird scenarios. The problem is now that there's alternate reality Gokus and alternate reality Supermen. If you were, I know Just a Robot's planning to do a all realities Goku versus all realities Superman that he can the best ones he can get his hands on, information wise. So he's gonna have multiple versions of each one facing each other to see if there's scenarios where Goku would win and scenarios where Superman would win. And
that's a really good idea.
Because the problem is as stated, right? You have each of them has certain points where they had certain peaks in the storyline. So if I were to take New 52 Superman and put him up against I would say Super Saiyan 3 Goku, I'd say that would probably be a fair fight, but most likely Goku would win because New 52 Superman was clearly a D-power.
Nerd. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn straight. It's what is this? I'm on this comic book stream before, so I'm fucking nerd.
No, it's you out nerded the others. Well, I'm going to talk about Magic the Gathering. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're exactly right, though. That you make some good points. What if Goku fought Superman from Superman the Animated Series, who can't even fly in space without a spacesuit? He'd tear his head off.
Yeah.
But it seemed when they did the if Goku would tear someone's head off, you know what I mean. But it seemed in the Death Battle one, it was basically all feats, right? They were pulling all kinds of Silver Age stuff for Superman.
And that's kind of why that one bothered me, because I'm not that I hate them doing it, but it bothers me because it very much kind of means that you're just kind of cherry picking to make sure the best for both of them, when there's a lot more discussion that could be had here. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's my personal take. It's a personal take. I mean, I still think that overall, when you have somebody like God Superman, you have something like Golden God Superman, yeah, it's kind of hard to top that. You know what I mean?
The one Superman 1 million or whatever, Superman Prime 1 million.
Yeah, that thing. That thing is ridiculous.
Just hang out in the sun for 1 million years and absorb energy. He didn't have to abide by the the All-Star Superman rules, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I thought was funny and kind of stupid at the same time is Goku's all oh, he's hiding in the sun. Let me just destroy the sun. Goku, no, you do not understand science.
Goku, no.
They made Goku intentionally stupider in that series. Goku's not that stupid. That was
true. Goku. They went with a bridge to Goku. Even got the guy who voices him in a bridge to do it, but it was still even a bridge Goku's not that stupid. Wait, no.
Yeah.
No, he actually isn't. And if you watch the actual series, yes, Goku, the difference between Goku and Superman, and because the correlation happened because they're very similar in certain ways, but the correlation specifically happened with the English translation of Dragon Ball. or Dragon Ball Z, I should say, where they try to make Goku like this paragon of virtue type, and like he never was in the original Japanese version. He's literally a selfish asshole who likes to fight.
Wow.
He like, I want to point out in his actual original fight with Vegeta, he says, "I know this is selfish of me, Krillin, but let him live because I had a really great fight with him, and I've never had anyone who's actually challenged me that well, and I would like to fight him again sometime."
That's awesome.
Even though he almost destroyed the Earth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, that's like, it's not some, oh, we're better than him, like let him live, like they did in the English translation. No, it's no, straight up, I'm selfish and I want to fight this guy again. Fuck it.
Or is my preferred, Vegeta, are you sorry? Just say you're sorry, Vegeta, and we'll let you go. Oh yes, I'm so sorry. I feel terrible for killing all your friends. Krillin, let him go. What? Are you really? Are you serious, Goku? Yes, let him go. Yes, I'm sorry.
Well, Braylon, who do you think would win between Goku and Superman? Whatever versions.
I don't know. I haven't really even watched Dragon Ball in a long time. I'll just go ahead and say Superman because no matter what, if you want to go with like what Golden Age Superman, he could like basically pull planets. Like, wasn't there something crazy like that? So at that point, the dude's like just invincible.
Well, I mean, you already had like you have the same thing with like Dragon Ball, right? Like you have Planet Busters now and ridiculous shit like that.
They just get more and more powerful.
Like, yeah, I think at that point it just gets ridiculous. Like you're at a point where you're so powerful. There's really no way to measure it or say who is as powerful. It just kind of gets really. It just depends on what story you're trying to write.
Like honestly, if Goku and Superman ever fought, who loses? Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if someone does lose, like basically the universe is wrecked, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
we're all gonna suffer.
The Earth would be at the very least.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and that's one thing I've always liked about the way they portrayed the Doomsday fight in the Death of Superman story arc and everything, where you see them punching each other so hard they're causing sonic booms and whatnot. It's like, yeah, that shows how strong Superman actually is.
There's a reason everyone loves the cardboard box line and the end of like Justice League there.
That is one of my favorite speeches, actually, where he's fighting Darkseid, and he's like, "But this is a rare opportunity for me to cut loose, and you can take it, can't you, big man?"
Even though he gets wrecked by Darkseid right afterwards.
Darkseid or Doomsday?
Pretty sure he did.
Yeah, no, we're talking his speech from the animated series. No, Justice League. Sorry.
Okay. I thought we were still talking Death of Superman. I love how in the Death of Superman comic, friggin' Doomsday is unleashed, and they have like not even the like D-string Justice League. There's like Booster Gold and like Vibe and Gypsy and shit. It's like the Detroit Justice. No, like literally, they're based out of Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they fly down there and they're like, "Oh, it's Doomsday. Oh, we're all destroyed." Like it wasn't even like close. I think Maxima is
You're
on
giving Vibe no credit.
No, I give Vibe no credit. It was just the trash team. Maxima was okay. She was like the only one that could sort of fight. And then they didn't even have the real like Supergirl. It was like Supergirl Matrix, and she just gets her face punched off.
Because this is around the time. Remember, like there was no other Kryptonian other than Superman, right? So like they couldn't have Supergirl because they had like that whole like that was that mandate DC had where no like Superman must be the last Kryptonian. So Supergirl she goes. She's gone. She's not here.
That's so stupid. That was the worst. And then they had all that creepy crap with her being with Lex Luthor because hey, it's not really Supergirl. And, like why? What am I reading?
Well, they're also trying to, do that whole like let's see. That's when he did the kryptonite ring thing, and it's like, yeah, that was a brilliant move. How did that work out for you?
Batman has it now.
And every time he deals with Superman, it is in his utility belt.
for Harley Quinn to steal when she needs to escape from all three.
I think the best part about the Kryptonian ring is like every writer has like a different level of how much they think it affects Superman. So like I've seen some writers where like it affects them to a great degree, and I've seen some writers where like it just kind of affects them, but like not by much.
Well, there is explanations for that too.
Yeah.
Just like how much solar radiation he's absorbed, how much he's been exposed to kryptonite before, like all kinds of things.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I think one of my favorites was if you remember, there was it was in Batman Hush, and and Superman was like controlled by Poison Ivy, if I remember correctly in that, and then it was just like, and so he brings up the Kryptonian ring and he says, and like there's actually a really great line that's like, yeah, the ring is holding him at bay a little bit, but like it's not going to help. Like this is still like the Man of Steel. Like probably if I hit him too many times, I'm going to break my bones, kind of thing, right? Like just to indicate, like, yeah, it's only a small fragment of kryptonite. It's not like such a massive piece that is like literally going to like completely depower him, right?
Yeah, it definitely varies a lot.
Yeah.
Are you still with us, Tristan? Haven't heard from you for a bit.
Yeah, I'm here. Hold on. Give me a second.
Like, you still with us? Yeah. Hold on. Give me a second. Peace.
No, I have pneumonia really bad, and I couldn't breathe for like the last 5 minutes. But I'm fine now. I'm back.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you're feeling okay.
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I know you'd been sick lately, so I appreciate you coming on.
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I was sitting here this whole like death battle talk trying to breathe. Yeah, I'm good.
Well, who do you think would win between Goku and Superman?
Oh, Superman. That's a silly question. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know a whole bunch about Goku, but I mean, it's Superman. Come on.
Yeah, it works for me.
I mean, I'm not gonna deny you that Superman's. I'm looking at the more of the intricacies of like the two characters and like looking at like scenarios where it would be interesting.
They would never fight if you're gonna go that far into it.
Exactly. Like they'd probably just go for a burger and a shake. Come on.
Oh, they could eat all the burgers. Have you seen that old school Superman comic where he's eating like a giant pile of burgers?
Oh god, I love those old Silver Age comic covers.
Yeah, and there's all these car hop ladies roller skating out to bring more burgers to the pile. And he's just like, I have to eat as many as I can.
Yeah.
I love it. But comics were always political.
Yeah, totally.
But the political intricacies of eating a hamburger are very important, okay? Yes.
But could Goku eat more hamburgers than Superman?
I mean,
now we're
they
seeing
both
which hero can eat more meat. Wonderful.
Good question, because of the fact that, like, depends. Did Goku just like work out? Because, and I'm talking one of Goku's workouts, not just a few push-ups. No, I'm talking like max, like 100 times Earth's gravity, things like that. Yeah, then I think that'd be I couldn't tell you moment.
Actually, no, I honestly couldn't tell you because one of the running gags of Goku as a character is that he does eat plates upon plates upon plates of food, like so much so that every restaurant or every like person who's ever served him food is like surprised by it. The only person that isn't at this point is like Bulma and Chi-Chi, because Bulma's used to it now, and Chi-Chi's his wife, so she's used to making that much food for him.
Well, I don't think we've ever had a comic book where Superman had the meat sweats, so that might be something interesting.
that could be an intriguing new gimmick.
There are those ones where he's just, I haven't read them, but you see the old covers where he's all fat for some reason. Superman's fat.
Oh yeah,
and he can't fit into the phone booth to change.
He got a lot of weird stuff around the world's finest older period when they were like 12 cents and stuff.
Yeah, they used to be really creative and goofy, like just crazy off the wall stuff.
Or like there's a really great Superman like Christmas comic where he tries to help like Santa lose those extra few pounds so he can fit into his Santa suit or something.
Does he really?
Yeah, he does. It's like he literally like. So what happens is there's this villain who doesn't want Christmas to happen, so he gives Santa Claus like some kind of food to make him a little bit more like a little fatter or something, so he can't fit in his suit. So Superman goes to help Santa Claus lose weight. So like he rushes Santa Claus through like obstacle courses. He flies him around the world, takes him like to near a volcano to scare him, like random like crap like that. Like, and it was like, what is even going on right now? And it was just way too funny because this was like none of this stuff makes any sense. And it's just like he's basically like taking like Superman has probably nearly killed Santa Claus like 5 times in this comic. And but you know, at the end of it all, his suit now fits.
Okay, that's sure.
That's
We'll just say yes and not go over how.
Yeah, but it was pretty bad. But like it's but not bad in like, oh, I hate it kind of way. It's just like this is Silver Age stuff. No one really understood how no one really cared about like the ethics of how to properly like lose weight or in that nature.
no.
I still say one of the funniest things about Silver Age Superman was basically this one kid, Lois Lane, was being a substitute teacher for some school. This kid was being a dick, so because this kid was being a dick to Lois Lane, Superman decided to be a dick to him. And oh god, like the things he did was borderline child abuse.
I think I've seen some of that. There's like a panel where, you know, Superman moves really fast, right? So like, does he take the kid's like underwear and hangs it in the tree, or takes his clothes or something?
I don't know. Like I know
I
at some
think
point he
so.
like took him into space or some shit.
This is taking.
You better hold your breath, kid.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like, God, Superman, why are you such a dick, Superman?
It was the evil Superman. It's been the red kryptonite or black kryptonite.
It's red that makes the dick.
Did you see? There's a platinum kryptonite now.
Really?
Yeah. There's what does that do?
It's supposed to give a normal person Superman's powers, if I understand it right.
Someone give me platinum kryptonite stat.
Well, I
Yeah,
know that like kryptonite also causes like the regular kryptonite. There was a time there when it did cause like poisoning to humans as much as like, but it's a slow effect like over time type of thing.
Well, yeah, that's because kryptonite's supposed to give off low levels of radiation,
Yeah.
and that's still there. That's why Lex Luthor, when he was wearing the ring, he lost his hand and whatnot, and ended up with cancer. They had even in the Superman the Animated Series where Lex Luthor carried around a chunk of kryptonite for years, and then in Justice League, he had cancer from doing that.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
That makes sense. I mean, really, it's given off some radiation. And then there's all the storylines where they like put kryptonite in the atmosphere or something to, you know, that happen. Doesn't that happen in New Krypton? It's in one of them where they're worried about fighting Kryptonians and they put kryptonite in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I think that was New Krypton that they did that.
Yeah.
Like, because you know that's a smart idea. Like, let's put a lethal gas into the air.
Yeah, it looks really nasty too. The clouds were all green and stuff.
Yeah.
They did that in Supergirl recently.
Okay.
They admitted kryptonite, like a kryptonite dose into the oxygen.
Okay.
I know.
It's been done multiple times.
I'm not saying go watch the show. It's not very good. So
I know I also know that like the kryptonite still had like a point. It was interesting because like, there was that point during DCU right before like the rebirth started, and they had like that Superman. He was the New 52 Superman where he had lost his powers, but like if you take kryptonite into his body, it would like ignite his Kryptonian like physiology and let him gain like some of his powers back. But the problem was it was also poisoning him at the same time. So it was like a double-edged sword. So you had that kind of going for a bit. So clearly, like they recognize that, that the kryptonite does at least have some kind of poisoning property to some degree, still. So yeah, that's at least a thing.
So I wonder if the platinum kryptonite will have that effect, like it gives you powers, but it slowly kills you.
Yeah, like maybe it slowly kills you, or maybe it slowly has like a or maybe it slowly has like a bad effect on your bloodstream, or it could, like, you never know. It's kind of hard to say. Like, it is also a question of like the platinum kryptonite does sound like it might be manufactured. So,
Oh, really? Did you read that Batman Secret Files?
I'm not
That's
reading his secret files, but the way you're explaining it to me sounds like it could be manufactured.
Yeah. I
Um,
just it was actually a freaking bleeding cool article, but they had a preview and it was like 5 or 6 pages from Batman Secret Files. I really want to read it, but yeah, that's where they revealed the platinum kryptonite. Like Superman has a chunk of it and he tosses it on the desk there, and Batman's looking at it. So
okay, so that seems weird to me because, um, so Superman created a way for Lois to have his powers for 24 hours.
yeah, an all-star.
An all-star, and it was like a drink of sorts. Now, here's the thing: like, there's also in the main continuity, there has been ways that people have gotten Superman's powers outside of like some platinum kryptonite that he's created. Like, there's been kind of like experiments. There's been kind of ways to mimic the power, things like that, right? It's usually fairly similar to like how All-Star does it. Now, so why would Superman just randomly have this thing called platinum kryptonite that would just like give people his powers?
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Maybe it's fossilized Kryptonian feces.
Could be. Yeah, it's crypto droppings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crypto left this on the lawn for you, Batman.
It just seems weird to me. And
it's
weird,
like, but I'm really intrigued. Like, I wanted to pick up Secret Files, but I haven't had a chance.
I might have to take a look at it and read it. I mean, I'm curious. I'm not saying I'm not, because I'm just like, it seems strange to me because it's like one of those things that like I feel like not the full thought process would put into it, kind of thing. So, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was. It's just like, because the only time the only time he actually tried to like make sure somebody had his powers was particularly for Lois's sake, so that he could be like, yeah, you want to have my powers so that you can see what it's like to be me for a day or something, right? Like, I don't see why you would want to have that around. Be like, yeah, I totally want people who I could potentially not trust have my powers for whatever reason, you know?
Well,
like,
it also makes sense why he'd give it to Batman, because Batman is the one person he does trust because of the fact that he knows Batman is so terrified of going rogue.
This is true.
I mean, come on, remember the whole bit where the thing is, I know the Doom movie was based off of it. I can't remember the name of the story arc, where it's all about villains getting the Batman's plans to take down the Justice League should they go.
Tower of Babel, I think is what it was called. JLA Tower of Babel.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's why we have you here, Braylon.
Oh my goodness.
That's cool. Tower of Babel. Yeah, I like that movie, Justice League Doom. Man, sucks for Martian Manhunter. I hate watching that scene where he's burning in the bar and he's just like screaming and people are looking at him and they can't help him. I skip over that freaking scene sometimes, man. I'm telling you.
And if you watch the special features to it, Batman basically even told you how to take down himself.
Oh, yeah? What do you do?
Exploit his trauma. The various things that have happened to him in his life, start with his parents, move on to Jason Todd and his various failures.
Interesting.
Well, honestly, like, it's also the scenario where he does. It makes sense that he'd want to have something in place to, that he wants something in place to, like, to make sure if anyone goes wrong with that, like, they can stop them. But at the same time, also, he'd expect like the other members to have that too.
Yeah.
Like, it's within his character.
Oh, you know? Yeah. And none of them were happy with him about it because they're like, you should have told us. What, are you kidding me? Then you would know. And then you'd take me down.
Well, and it wouldn't work too if they knew. Then, like, how can you take them down if they know?
Yeah. But
honestly, it's just it's one of those things where I can understand where the rest of the league feels like betrayed when they found out. Like, Though honestly, the animated version of it wasn't. It was still good. I enjoyed it, but the Tower of Babel had like better ideas to like how to take out each of the members. Just because like you had things where like because the fear gas was used not against Green Lantern, but it was used against like Aquaman to make him like literally be afraid to use the powers that he has, kind of thing, right? And then you'd have like I can't remember what the other ones were, but like they just had better options, like they had better connections in there because like as silly as it is, like just using fear gas against like Green Lantern is not like the solution to Green Lantern. You know what I mean? The solution is to make him like not have a connection with his ring whatsoever. And but
yeah, I think they made him blind because I think it was Kyle Rayner, and the whole thing was like to make constructs, you have to be able to see what you're creating. So making him blind made it impossible to make constructs.
Yeah,
so that was pretty crazy.
I think my favorite part about that one was Aquaman when he like got over the fear because he was just like, and then he literally used the power that he uses to like tell the fish what to do to be like, yeah, no, like it's a small level psychic like blast. That's what it is, and I'm going to like use it to like literally give you a tremor in your brain right now. Like, I was like, that shit's like messed up. I love it.
Well, I like how they described what it actually is, though.
Yeah. Well, the reason it works on fish is so well it does is because like he doesn't need much energy to do it because like he's not a psychic. It's just that he has like a low level psychic blast to control the fish. So, and logically, that would make sense that he could use it. Like he wouldn't be able to control humans because they have too much free will, but he could at least make it so they have like constant mind grains, right?
I never thought about that.
I thought he used it the way it was described was what he's doing is he's technically dominating the fish.
Just like imposing his will on them.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
that makes sense.
Like it's never
he became some kind of a lantern. That'd be cool.
Well, it's never been implied that like in most recent comics, it's never implied that he's like talk to the fish. It's he imposes his will. He tells them what they're going to do, and they're going to do it. The only time he's ever talked to them is like in some of the TV shows and in some like the really really old comics, but like nothing ever since I think like the Bronze Age. He's never really talked to them. It's just imposing his will upon them. If I remember correctly. But Frugal might know better than I did. I mean, I think he's read more than I have, and that lane there.
You know, they've been fast and loose with Green Lantern. It's been all over the place over the years with his power set. So I think you covered it well.
Yeah. Well, I do like me the Green Lantern. He's fun. Also, okay. Did you see that? Okay, I want to point out at the back of that issue, the Grant Morrison one, that they put a hint that they're going to be doing the Green Lantern Green Arrow thing, and I'm really hoping for a lot of references to the old Green Lantern Green Arrow like days of the team ups that they used to, like the team up book they used to do.
The Neil Adams.
Yeah.
I'd like to. Really cool.
Well, it's within Grant Morrison to do that kind of stuff, so I'm hoping that he'll make so many references to it. I wonder if the little star pet thingy that Hal Jordan used to have will show up.
Starro, I think is what it was called.
Well, it was like an offshoot of Starro. It wasn't actually Starro.
Okay, because I was like that thing. I thought that thing was like a mind control villain of sorts, and yeah.
And like here's Hal Jordan, like with like a little mini version of it as a pet, like, like wow,
cool.
Yeah,
it's like in All-Star Superman where he's got a pet that eats suns, right? He has like a little sun eater.
Yeah, he's like a baby sun eater.
Yeah, it's a baby sun eater, and it gets too big for the Fortress of Solitude, so he has to take it out into space and let it go. I'm just like, this guy's the ultimate badass. Like, his pet eats suns. He's got time to feed it.
I love it because like what he does is he grabs like he grabs like dying suns and like he cracks them to like feed it.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Oh yeah. So that's actually I thought that was creative.
Yeah, there's a lot of creativity in that
book.
So Robert Willing has a really good point in the chat. He says Aquaman can't use his power against freshwater fish, only saltwater fish. That's why he lost his hand, because the piranhas are freshwater fish and they ate his hand.
Huh. Did not know that.
I didn't either. Like, you wouldn't think it would matter, but apparently so. So if he's in a lake, he's not too helpful.
Yeah. I mean,
he only controls the ocean stuff.
I guess so. I guess he has his limits. And there's I don't know, man. Like, I love the I love the ridiculousness of Green Arts, like of the Green Lantern. Like, there's also like Rissa. Somebody reminded me of Rissa the other day, and he was just like, "Oh man, who's like?" Because he was like getting into comics, and he's like, "Who's Arissa?" I'm like, "Oh, she's an alien species that was a Green Lantern, and Hal Jordan dated her at one point." He's like, oh, "Okay." So like he said, like, she's kind of cool. And like, so anything special about her? I'm like, there was that time like she was pretty much underage, but she like aged herself up so she could date Hal Jordan.
That's, at this point, I'm not even surprised.
Not even surprised anymore.
It's like an on-running joke, like amongst like some of the Green Lantern fans, that like, Hal Jordan is stealing from the cradle, man.
Gotta keep an eye on that Hal Jordan.
Like, I swear to God, like, he has the most awkward relationships with ladies I've ever seen of all the Green Lanterns. Just like almost any superhero. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say most of the Green Lantern relationships don't go too good.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Hal Jordan. Okay, so I want to point out Hal Jordan dated Power Girl during her man-hating phase. Literally was indicated that they might have had sex on the battlefield one time.
It happens.
He dated Arissa, but Arissa wanted it, so she's like, "I'm going to age myself up so it's not awkward." Like, I think that makes it more awkward. I'm surprised how many times he's been with Carol, especially since there's even like times when Carol has tried to kill him, but also wanted to have sex with him and kill him that way. Because of the whole like Star Sapphire and how like controls your mind. There's been like, what else is there? Oh, there was also a hint that he might have wanted to date Saronic Natu, but actually like nothing came of that. But there was like a hint, and it was like a fear of Sinestro's. Like, it's like, no, Hal Jordan, you will not date my daughter. It's like, what?
Sinestro would be like the worst father-in-law, though. Like the fear guy. Like, oh man.
Oh yeah.
And the thing I've always thought was that always I get to say I like about Sinestro is it's not that he's so much of a villain per se all the time. It's just he's that I get to say he's that strict with the law. Because if I remember right, when he became a Green Lantern, the first thing he did was take over his planet and basically make it a very lawful place.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I was correct on that. I was like, oh, please tell me I didn't get that wrong.
Well, no, you're right. You're right. Like, I think my favorite moments was like, because he created the Yellow Lanterns or the Sinestro Corps to force the Green Lanterns to start using like lethal force. So, and it's either he basically had two ultimatums: either the Sinestro Corps will become the new leaders, or the Green Lanterns will learn to use the learned force, because there's no other way around this. This is what the Sinestro Corps will do. Right?
He pushed it to absolutely. He pushed it to the extreme of the power. He wanted to be judge, jury, and executioner, pretty much.
Yeah, and there's a really great speech at the end with Hal, and where he's like, "No, Hal, did I really lose? Because now the Green Lanterns have that choice. They'll have to decide if they're going to kill somebody or bring them in. Like, I've gotten what I wanted." It's like, so, and it's just like, well, what's Hal going to say to that? It's just like, he's right. I can't It's like now we have to worry about Green Lanterns who might kill somebody, and well, they can just say they did it because it felt like it was the right thing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Not a good precedent, really.
yeah, but it's one of those things where the Green Lanterns now have it as a ruling they can kill now, right? And
they can. I don't really think they still can.
well, I think they took it away, but like during the
Okay.
Sinestro Corps War, remember they gave the ability to use the lanterns on lethal.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that was Sinestro's play all along, because at the end he gloats about it to Hal. Right.
Well, Sinestro.
And I want the Sinestro Corps movie. I want the Sinestro Corps War movie. Like, that would be an amazing movie.
There's so many things like that, though. There's like that and Blackest Night and whatnot, where do we want them to make a movie? Like, could they do it and do a good job? Talk about a special effects budget. Like, would you animate it for one thing? Like, it almost
I would want it animated personally.
Yeah, it would pretty much have to be, I would think.
With Sinestro Corps War, I think you could do it if you did it animated. Blackest Night, I think that would really hurt the budget. Because, like, with Sinestro Corps War, you could easily make some exceptions, like with some of the stuff, to get away with making the budget worth it. But Blackest Night, it's the whole point of Blackest Night is like, all your favorite heroes are coming back as zombies, guys.
Well, I personally, if they do make a new live action, or they do bring Sinestro back in live action, I hope they bring back Mark Strong, because I thought he did an amazing Sinestro.
He was a really great choice for that role. I would love to see him come back. Like, that was the best part of that movie was him.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Clark Duncan as Kilowog.
Oh yeah, and may I say that I'm one of the few people that look at, like, I think Ryan Reynolds did a good Hal Jordan, but the problem wasn't like they got everyone fairly well cast. It's the fact that they had a third movie villain as the first movie villain. They should have had it be they built up, and at the end he fights Parallax, and it ends with him becoming Parallax, and basically the next Earth Green Lantern being Kyle Reiner. And in the next, like the second and third movie, they could have brought in Jon Stewart and Guy Gardner. And like the fact that they didn't have anybody on set that knew comic books enough to be like, whoa, what are you guys doing? This is a bad idea. Bad idea.
What did Tristan? What did you think of that movie, the 2011 Green Lantern?
The one with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, the live action one.
It was just kind of garbage. It was absolutely awful. Like, Amanda Waller was just horrible. Parallax was awful. The whole thing was just really done very, very poorly.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, you should never fight a cloud or something that's not very defined as your. Well, we've seen that in the Hulk movie as well. And the second, I think it was the second. Yes, second Fantastic Four. Yeah, it just doesn't play well. You have to have a villain you can actually see, have it more tangible. The cloud villain just sucks.
I'm not denying that. But the point I'm making is it had. And I forgot about Amanda Waller, so yes, you are right about that. But the point I'm making is it had potential. It's just that they, like I said, they jumped the gun. They should have had that be third movie villain, not first movie villain. Like, he's on his way. We need to be prepared type deal. That's why they, like I said, they bring in Jon Stewart, Guy Gardner, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that could have been cool. It's just had so many problems. Like, the special effects really took me out of it. The way his outfit,
Load?
Yeah, it just looks so weird, especially like his neck, right in there where it would like transition from real person to CGI. It just looks so bizarre.
When they could have just had him wear a standard costume and it would have looked amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, if they just put a lot of money into their regular costumes and stuff, could have worked.
I'm not denying that. I'm not saying that there weren't flaws with the movie. I'm just saying that it had potential, and there was if they had not gone with Parallax first, like they could have done that. I think it was Mastermind first, Sinestro second, and then had the third movie him finally fight Parallax, and like I said, it ends with him becoming Parallax, and the extra scene after the credits is Kyle Reiner getting the ring.
Yeah, it's like. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. Because I was always thinking, like, if you were to do somebody like the Tattoo Man, or like as your first villain, like somebody who's just like not as big, you know what I mean? That would probably help. Or even if you were to do, what was the android? The name of the androids again?
The Manhunters.
The Manhunters. Yeah, like they could have worked for the first villain too.
I agree. But they used those for the game for some odd reason.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So, and like one thing that would have really also I think would have been cool was them doing the training and like really bypassing it as quickly as possible. I think was a bad idea because like he could have done the training, and then what you do is like you do like a montage of him actually training, and then like you cut back to Earth, and it's just like, and then you have like a newspaper flyby telling you like we know when he left. Like let's say oh man, I have that. And we're like, oh man, I have that thing on the 16th. Yeah, no worries, Carol. I'll make sure to be there on time for it. And then we come back and it's like December 23rd. So it's just like, oh shit, he's been gone for like a month and a half or something. Right. And it's just like he missed his deadline. He's been gone. Like, and he comes in there, his like apartment's gone. It's like, well, you've been gone, dude, for like over a month. Like,
yep, that's good.
Like, you know, the KEO sticks.
I gotta get going.
Oh, no worries, Fruit.
Yeah, I'm running about 3 hours of sleep, and I got to get up early again. So it's been fun.
Well, thank you for being here, Captain Frugal. I really appreciate it. I know you're.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure.
It's nice getting to chat with everybody here. I always love to get to say hello to everybody. And once again, thanks again. I'm not leaving because of you guys. Literally, I've got to get up early again, and I am tired.
Oh, imagine.
Like I said, it was nice to finally meet you, Captain Frugal.
Yeah, you as well. I have to do this again sometime, if you don't mind.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you guys have a. I'm sorry about that. You guys have a wonderful day, or night, I should say.
You too.
All right.
Take care. See ya.
Yeah, night.
Oh, I was glad he made it.
Yeah.
Oh no, like I said, it was awesome to finally meet him.
Yeah, it's really cool. He's a nice guy.
He's one of the nicest guys in the community.
Yeah, and that's saying something because there's a lot of nice people.
Really is true. I don't think we really have too many bad eggs in the community as it is. I think most people in here are pretty good people. It's just like there's just some that are really just stand out nice, like Edwin Boyette or Captain Frugal. Just like these people who are just like paragons of like just extreme niceness.
Right.
People who take the lessons that the superheroes in our comic books taught us to heart and actually try to live up to that, I could say, example.
Yeah, definitely. And, so yeah, definitely like that is because it is something that like really shines through. You're like, oh, that guy's like extra nice.
Right.
It's like, it's just like it's when you have like that cheesecake and you're like, oh, that's an extra sweet cheesecake. That's a little bit more than I expected it to be. God, I'm terrible.
No. Terrible does not describe this group. Terrible describes those who wish to bring only malice and destruction that fit only in the Red Lantern.
Okay. Well, I have to say, I mean, I actually did like the Red Lanterns, especially the.
They're kind of cool, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to be one, but it's a good addition to the lore.
It was. My favorite was. I like the part when Guy Gardner had like his like ragtag Red Lantern team.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually pretty cool. Like proving that they didn't have to be bad if they didn't want to be, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's a creative idea. And then I did like Arkillo is still not Arkillo. I do like Arkillo though. He's pretty cool. but I was thinking of
Atrocitus.
Atrocitus.
is really cool from the Red Lanterns. I really like him. But I also what's that girl's name again? The one that like the main female of the Red Lanterns. Can't remember her name. I like her too. I like her design.
She's got like blue skin. Or
Yeah.
whatever. What is her name? Belize or Blez or something?
Please, yeah.
Please,
Yeah,
that's her
something
name.
like that.
I like her. She's always really cool. She hasn't like the Red Lanterns haven't been around in a while. Actually, where are they?
Mm-hmm. I will say that my favorite Red Lantern is actually Dexstar.
Oh,
That
the
cat has
cat.
such a
he's
sad
such a cute
backstory.
That yeah, and I'll admit I'm kind of a cat guy.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That cat has such a sad backstory.
He
I
does.
swear. Like there was these special issues of the Red Lanterns where they were going through for a bit there, and they like in each one had like in the backup story had the actual like origins of each of the characters. So we got one for like Bleeze, one for Atrocitus, one for Death Star. We got a few others. Those are the three that really stood out though. For Atrocitus, it was like literally him like praying to the gods to like revitalize his world, which is what like made the Red Lantern, the river and everything there, like which started the powers and everything. It was really messed up because like it revitalizes the idea that the Green Lantern energy is not just science; it's also magic, right? Which a lot of people really forget. And Atrocitus kind of proves this point because like his power is mostly from the faith of like the hatred gods, right?
Yeah.
And so this is how he like created it. Now, the one for Belize is like we realize that she used to be like came from this angelic like race, and was like pretty much like she was like raped and like left for dead and like thrown out into space, and then she, like her hatred for like what happened in that moment is like what made her. You're like, that's just ridiculous, right? Like, well, she used to just be a regular girl before that, right? Like just a regular like I wanted to go and party type like girl, like just from her stuff, like angel like people though, right? And so that was like just some messed up stuff, and now she's like this twisted, dark character.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the origins on these characters, where they come from.
Well, I mean, like they had to like give these people like hatred that matched the reason for why they would be one of these lanterns, right? And it explained, and I would definitely expect that from Bleeze. That made sense to me, you know.
Oh yeah. There's just some origins, man. They're just too brutal, and I'm just like, I'm gonna be over here because wow, that's just too sad and a little too brutal for me. A little too brutal.
Are you still talking about Dexter?
No, I'm talking about the chick that got like.
Please.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
Like some I'm getting some corrections. Robert and Chris are reminding me that her mother betrothed her to a Sinestro Corps member who they then killed her mother and tore her wings off.
Wow.
Yeah. Like it's pretty like she went through some pretty harsh, like she was probably one of the ones who went through the most harsh stuff. That's why it makes sense why she hates people. Now
I thought Murrah was a pretty cool Red Lantern in Blackest Night.
Oh yeah. And another the last one was Dexter had a really sad one because of what it was is he had a girl that like raised him, that basically like adopted him as a kitty and like raised him, and then she was killed, and he was so angry he wanted like revenge for her, like for the people who killed her.
And then he was grabbed up by basically a couple of hoodlums, thrown in a sack, and was thrown off a bridge. And at that moment, that the ring chose him, so he got the ring, came up from the water, and literally fried those guys.
Yeah.
Hey, I feel no remorse for them. I don't. If you're gonna do that to a defenseless animal, you deserve what you got.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
And the and now and now he's Atrocitus's kitty, and Atrocitus gives him all the pets.
That's awesome.
And that to me is like the happiest ending he could have, I guess.
Well, Atrocitus clearly likes him. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
You ever wonder what it's like if you had a Red Lantern like come in your home and they talk and there's just blood like spraying everywhere?
The ring literally does replace your blood with the lava.
Like a white couch and there's just like blood. You ever see them talking to someone and they're like standing too close and there's just blood? Is it lava? I thought it was blood. Like you just see them stuff spraying out.
Yeah, no, it replaces. So it actually, so when you take the ring, the ritual replaces the blood in your stream with like the lava stream of the Yzmalt. So that means that
can't take the ring off without dying, right?
Unless that's one of the reasons why, though, because like the meaning of taking off the ring is pretty much sacrificing yourself to like the god Yzmalt, right? So yeah, basically it kills you to take it off because like the lava, like the ring is what's also keeping the lava in your body at bay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So the only way to have it properly healed, like as soon as you take the ring off, you need a blue lantern to literally heal you.
Yeah, that's what they did, huh? In Blackest Night. Or I read Mogo can take him off. Yeah, in the Supergirl Red Lantern book.
Yeah, so what Supergirl did, she did a unique thing. She took the ring off. She didn't get a blue lantern, but she went into the sun. Like she ran into the sun, like basically to heal faster than the actual like death, like the actual like the death would cause. So
Gardner told her though she went to Mogo he could take it off, right? But she didn't go.
Yeah, Mogo could take it off, and it's just really weird. Like it's one of those things. It's never been like a hard rule either. Like there's been some people who've been able to take it off and actually survive. So it's not a hard rule, but it is a thing. Like,
is thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I find it weird. I mean, I know Guy Gardner had the hardest time with it. Even after healing, he actually had like the blood ritual. He was able to do the blood ritual like prediction thingy once, even though he didn't have the Red Lantern ring anymore. Where you spew out the lava blood and like it actually like predicts something that's going to happen.
Well, Robert is saying Simon Batts was able to. He was so willful, he was able to purify his blood without a blue lantern ring, but he's calling bullshit on that.
A lot of Green Lantern fans hate that.
Yeah, that sounds. I don't necessarily approve of that either.
Like it's the reason that they hate that is like it basically means that Baz either should have been a Blue Lantern or shouldn't have had that power.
Kind of undermines some things.
Yeah, and the reason they did that is because like they wanted to make Simon unique, so they gave him like for whatever reason he's one of the Green Lanterns that can heal, and I'm like, dude, like that wasn't necessary. I think he's unique enough on his own run. I like the Green Lanterns one with him and Jessica Cruz. I think that would have been. I think that was perfectly fine. You could have just left it at that, and you didn't have to have like this special healing power that made no sense. Oh yeah, that's right. Chris reminded me. He's right. The Star Sapphire can also heal the Red Lantern, because.
Oh, that's how Murrah. Yeah, that was in Blackest Night. Murrah is cured by Star Sapphire. She reminds her how much she loves Arthur and all that. But the Saint Walker does help too. He kneels and
it is something like
on that one.
Well, the Star Sapphires and the Blue Lanterns have fairly similar power sources. Where one bases off hope, the other one is based off love.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that the two of them would probably be able to do that. The only downfall to the Star Sapphires is if the power goes unchecked, they do go crazy. Because, well, you can fall crazy in love.
Yeah, seems legit.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I kind of like that, how there's multiple. Is there ultraviolet or something now? If they introduced that.
Yeah, they reintroduced the Ultraviolet. I'm not a fan of that one, actually.
I don't know much about it.
It was introduced during the Justice League thing, and it's supposed to be like a Green Lantern ring that just like kind of gives you absolute power of some sort, but like you can't. But it's unchecked. I'm not a fan of it because like it just feels like a weird cop out ring.
It's just too OP, I think.
Hey guys, I'll have to head out. I'm just giving you a heads up.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
Oh, no problem, dude. We've been streaming for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I'll catch you later then.
Take care.
Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, good night.
All right, take care, guys.
Take care, man.
Later.
Mega Gears is a good artist too, right? You see his stuff on Twitter. He always posts.
I do. Yes, he is a very good artist. Yes, and if you guys need an artist for a book, you should reach out to Mega Gears.
Right? No, he's always working on drawing figures and stuff. I think he's really good. It shows a lot of progress too, because
he's been practicing. Like he's been sharing like almost every day, like pieces
he's
been working on. So
it's the way to do it.
No,
it's practice.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Chris is right. Chris has been reading the Justice League, and he followed the Ultraviolet. See, I still think it's stupid. It's like here's a crazy, incredible amount of power because it's like a living emotional spectrum ring, and I'm like, that's so stupid. Like, what was the point of the White Lantern ring then? And what was the point of like the Black Lantern ring?
That's what I was gonna ask. It just sounds like the White Lantern ring, like.
Yeah, but this is a living emotional spectrum, so it's different.
What emotion is ultraviolet anyway, or are they not doing the emotional connection anymore?
No, it's like a living emotional spectrum. So it's a spectrum of emotions that's like living.
Yeah.
I'm just going to nod my head and back away slowly because
it's getting overly complicated.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things that Scott Snyder got put onto like writing Justice League and wanted to like make something big and crazy for himself, and that's what he did.
And as soon as he's off the book, it'll be very quickly forgotten and never spoke of again.
Probably. The White Lantern ring made sense to me because the whole point of the White Lantern ring is like to master all the emotional spectrum to become a White Lantern. Right? And only a select few could even do that. Like Kyle Rayner was able to do it. And even then, like it was so much power that it was killing him, so he had to split the power.
But it doesn't change the fact that it was an OP ring. And they made it to where, hey, yes, you can use it, but there's a drawback. Like balance. Like it's I guess you could kind of say like tabletop RPG. You can create an OP character, but to do it you have to have a lot of flaws. So like he's ugly, he's a kleptomaniac, things like that, to make up for the fact that he can pretty much win in every fight type deal.
What is everyone's favorite Lantern Corps?
I'm gonna go with the OG Greens.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up reading a lot of Green Lantern. And I'm going to say that my favorite is going to be Guy Gardner.
Nice.
Good man.
He's a good one. Tristan, how about you?
Probably Violet, but if I had to pick a favorite Lantern, it would definitely be Jessica.
Oh, cool. Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
I love her in Odyssey. I mean, I love her old stuff too. I love like the agoraphobia and her, issues she has and has to overcome. But in Odyssey, she's kind of already overcame that. So I'm really thinking that that's going to be a good run for her.
Yeah, she's a cool character.
I like that. Like she actually had something to work towards as a character.
Exactly. I think that she's one of my favorite she's definitely my favorite Lantern, but she's one of my favorite DC characters in general, just because she did have so much against her, personality wise, and just so much going on, and she was able to overcome that. So I think she's a good one.
Complex, right? It just isn't automatically perfect.
Exactly.
More like a real person.
Yeah, and she wasn't like, I love Batman, but she wasn't born into money and had this given to him and this and this. She actually had to work for where she is now.
Which makes sense. Well,
It's always hard to introducing a new character. What was that, Bob?
I was just gonna say, I mean, come on, the best characters are generally flawed. It's what makes them good. You can't have every character be a god that is. I guess you could say that's one of the reasons why I was a fan of Marvel for so long, because a lot of their characters, they were good. They wanted to be good. They were good for good's sake, but at the same time, they were still flawed people. And then they decided to just make them flawed people with no redeeming properties, and I was like, screw that.
Yeah. You need both.
Yeah, you can't just have one, I guess you could say, overshadow the other. When you do that, you remove any redeeming qualities of the people. It's like if you wanted to deal with shitty people, I mean, let's be honest. A lot of us became comic book readers because of the fact that people were shitty and we didn't like it, but we liked the people in comic books because even when they were, even when they were not the best person they could be, they were trying to be better. Like, trying to think of a good example of that. Like best Wolverine. He knows he's a cold-blooded killer. He knows he could very easily just be very much the bastard that everyone thinks he is. But at the same time, he doesn't want to be, and he tries to have a good heart at all times and tries to live up to some sort of standard.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's a reason why, like, it made sense when we learned, like, Wolverine tried to do the way of the samurai for a bit, and why he like always has some like some kid who looks up to him that like he has to protect type. Like we're constantly reminded that sure, Wolverine is a bad guy, like he's done some really terrible things, but he's always like a good person overall, right? Like he has something against killing people, but it's that fact that like, oh well, it's that fact that, hey little girl Jubilee, you're gonna want to cover your eyes. This is not gonna look very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's
I mean, how many? It's funny you mention that because how many kids has he taken in and taken under his wing? I mean, like Colossus, for instance, with Kitty Pryde, he was more worried about Wolverine than he was anyone else because he knew Kitty Pryde looked up to Wolverine, and Wolverine, like so many, like Jubilee, like Yukio, and a few others, they all looked up to him, and he tried his best to fill that role of like the older brother, if you will, for them. Like,
so, Bob, did you pick a lantern that you like?
it has been and always will be. Well, not has been, always will be, in the sense like it's been there for years and years. But Red Lantern Corps.
Oh yeah, I remember you told me that. Didn't you make a Red Lantern ring?
Yeah, it's never was able to. Well, I'm still trying to. I'm a perfectionist, so the fact that there's still flaws in it, and I'm just sanding. Then didn't get it right. Glue, sand. Ah! Yeah, it's pretty much good now. It just needs to be painted. I just haven't gotten around to doing that.
Oh, that's cool. You just need a power battery too, then, or a lantern.
I remember. Funny enough, actually, I made my own Green Lantern ring. I had a because what it was is I had we had a 3D printer at one of the schools I went to back in the day. Like that, one of the first ones kind of came in, and I found like a mold for a Green Lantern ring, and I printed it off.
Nice.
That's awesome. I didn't even know you could do that.
Oh, yeah. If the mold is strong enough, yeah, you can. It's just like you just got to make sure like there's enough layers on it and all that kind of stuff. And I haven't tried coloring it because it would probably like seep through it because of the material, and it would take a tremendous amount of coats.
Hey, still, to me, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I would definitely like if I had a 3D printer. That's what I would want to do. Not even gonna lie, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, you can make tons of rings that way. Just print them out.
Oh, dude, and then at that point, I'd actually get Blender and have it to do the model, create the model for it and everything, to where I could put a red LED light in the center and actually have the battery in it and everything. Put it on the glow and everything.
That's a good idea.
'Cause,
That'd be cool.
yeah, it would be. It'd be fucking awesome.
So, so unranked, what color you want to be there? You gonna be a Black Lantern? Undead?
I like the Blue Lanterns originally. Back when they were like pure pacifists. Yeah, because at a certain point, the way that they were depicted it changed subtly, because they used to just be pure pacifists that made only like defensive constructs, and then there's a scene, it might be in Blackest Night, I can't remember exactly where, but where they actually no, it came later than that, but it was where they basically made the same kind of constructs that the Green Lanterns do, weapons and vehicles and things like that. So that felt like a subtle but pretty important shift in how the Blue Lanterns were depicted.
Huh.
But originally when it was mostly just Saint Walker and a couple others, that they could really only do healing powers and defensive powers, and they could charge up Green Lanterns to actually do real stuff. That was kind of cool because it was kind of different.
Well, they work like they charge up. Well, it's been changed now, so they can. Hey, Feisty, thanks for joining us. So they work differently now, because like what they do is Green Lantern is like one of my wheelhouses. It's one of my favorites. Because now that they can, so part of their lore now is they can link up to any color that they choose. But they can only choose one, I think, right now. Choose to link up with red, green, whatever other color, right? But because they choose to link up, so whenever somebody of that color spectrum is nearby, they can do constructs. And
doesn't Indigo do basically the same thing, where they can use
Indigo works differently. Color. So Indigo uses the color of whatever spectrum is nearby.
Yeah, they can just straight up use their power, right? Yeah. But it's not easy. It didn't appear easy anyway. Like it's more strenuous than just using their normal Indigo powers.
Yeah, so like so Indigo can use like and it's not like it's more strenuous than using their own powers, but their own powers are more like teleportation and defense based. But if there's another color nearby, they can use theirs. They can use theirs. Yeah. And it's a good substitute to have them, because if you can have them in a Green Lantern, because it takes 2 colors to get rid of a Black Lantern.
Yep.
So you need green and any other color to get rid of a Black Lantern.
Yeah, the more the better, really.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what they've learned. So it's a kind of like, it's interesting. It's interesting because like also that added lore to the Blue Lanterns, that they can like choose a spectrum to go with. So they can only go with one right now, but they can choose that spectrum. They would power up the spectrum, and when that spectrum's nearby, they can do constructs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like the Green Lantern lore. It's a lot of good stuff.
Oh yeah.
So unranked then, were you settled on Blue Lantern? You said originally.
Yeah, I mean I've always liked the Green Lanterns, so for much the same reason that others have said.
Just be greedy and take like multiple rings.
All of the rings. Yeah, why not?
Hal Jordan did it.
Yeah. I love that cover where he's got like 11 Green Lantern rings or something on, 13 or so.
I mean, you could always try being the Orange Lantern. Or Felice is always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Lex has a couple rings at one point when he's an Orange Lantern, and he takes a Yellow Lantern, and he's trying to get a Red Lantern when they stop him.
That doesn't surprise me at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
thing I've always liked about Lex Luthor is he's always been basically where he may not physically be a match for Superman, intellectually he was always a match for him.
Oh, I'm Lex Luthor is one of my favorite villains, and that's because here's the thing. So, hey, it's like I'll stop you. It's like I'll stop you, Lex. It's like, what are you going to do to stop me, Superman? I own half of the city. You arrest me. Well, how many people go out of a job?
Yeah, he's always got something intellectual.
Like it's amazing. Like this like, or it's like, oh yeah, no worries, Superman. You stopped it. Guess what? I have so many like backdrops of like things that are connected. I'm not the one getting arrested. That guy's my patsy.
Yeah. And like even in the animated series, they did a really good job of conveying that where, even though he had it set up to where there, even if, they caught the guy who had become Metallo, I can't remember his name, it didn't matter. That guy goes down, Lex Luthor gets off scot-free.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Superman still showed up and was like, I know you were behind it. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, sure you don't. And when Superman flies off, you just see him pound his desk, breaking his phone, and the little statuette of it and everything.
Yeah.
Suit.
Like I do like it, and it's one of those things where when there's also like that thing where I also like the delusional level of Lex Luthor that was recently created. Like I'd say this has been going on for about since the late '90s, give it or take, where Lex Luthor is he believes he's like this paragon of good, that I really like,
yeah.
where he's like, no, I need to stop you, Superman, because you're the villain, right? Like he's convinced himself that he's the righteous one, that he's doing the right thing. Like that's how delusional he is. And
Yeah.
like
That's the best kind of villain, though, when they really believe what they're doing is justified.
Well, I guess the best way to describe it is that's what makes a good villain, because a good villain believes he's the hero of his own story.
Yep.
And like, best way to put it is, as much as I hate to give anything to Joss Whedon, the Professor Horrible sing-along blog was a good example where the Professor Horrible, he's thinking, he wants to take over the world and set it free to, get rid of these corrupt bureaucrats and things like that. Truly noble idea. But at the same time, you have the fact that he's still technically the villain because of the fact that he still wants to take over the world.
Yeah.
Like, so it's one of those. That's why I always, when writing villains, especially good villains, you gotta always have them with that sense of, in their mind, their plans make sense, especially if you're trying to write them like Lex Luthor and his delusional bit where he honestly does. But it kind of makes sense. He fears the day that Superman goes bad, and he's willing to do everything he can to prevent that. Like, I've stated it before, and a lot of people agree with or disagree with me. Those like DC fans and whatnot. I know he doesn't agree with me, but I think that Jesse Eisenberg did an excellent Lex Luthor.
Ooh. Yikes.
We could take a poll on that one.
I don't think many people are going to agree with him.
But think about it. He's
he's crazy?
No, because he was the first Lex Luthor that actually felt like he had a plan. And
Bob has been ejected from the chat.
See,
where did Bob go? He dropped. Go ahead.
I see how it is.
BVS is serious business.
I mean, okay. So you're right and wrong. Like, I don't say all villains need to be like the hero of their story. So, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to bring up Joker. right? Joker doesn't think he's a hero. He knows he's not a hero. Joker's
He knows he's the bad guy.
Yeah, he revels in it, and that's what makes Joker really work. Is like when it's done properly. Like I hate the people who do it and like, oh well, Joker, Joker is just crazy. There's a method to his craziness. It's like there's a the reason the Killing Joke works so well. Is because in that moment it's just like, Joker. It's like we've stopped you and we'll always stop you. It's like you don't understand, Commissioner Gordon. It's like you could be just as bad as I am one day. And this is what you just need one bad day. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, what? It's just like that's Joker's thought process. He's not about, I'm not doing this for the right or wrong reasons. I'm going to show Commissioner Gordon what a real bad day can be like.
Oh yeah, and I'll admit, Joker's actually my all-time favorite villain.
Yeah.
The Killing Joke is one of my favorite books because of the fact that it's like it really goes to show one. I feel it does show that Batman, in his own way, he doesn't want them to finally come to that point where they do kill each other. It's because in some way, Batman knows that the only person that truly understands him is the Joker, and vice versa.
So we had a question earlier at the end of the Killing Joke there. Do you think Batman killed the Joker or no? Someone was asking that.
No.
I love that, like, leave it up to the interpretation of the reader moment.
Tristan says no.
Nope.
How about...
I honestly believe the possibilities there that he could have. And I love, so part of me says yes, and part of me always says no.
I'm right there with you.
Like, and because, like, the thing is the only time Alan, and I know Alan Moore on record has said, no, he didn't. I'm well aware of that. But he only said that after Grant Morrison said, oh, well, I've always interpreted it as that he did. And I know Alan Moore has a vendetta against Grant Morrison. For whatever reason.
Yeah.
Well, they really don't like each other. But...
yeah. But at least Grant Morrison's acting like an adult about it.
May I say, Alan Moore is really one of those, like, the biggest problem with Alan Moore, he's a very hit or miss writer. Like, he can either be the greatest writer ever, or it's just kind of like, meh.
Man, what happened to the Man of Tomorrow was such a good book, though.
Well, it's one of those. I couldn't tell you, never read it, so I'll take your word for it.
So they contacted Alan Moore to be like, so they were ending the Silver Age books, and they were starting the Bronze Age, and they're like, we need like a closing end. Like, how does the Silver Age end for Superman? And they asked Alan Moore to do it.
You know, I have faith in Alan Moore. I think he would do it right. So.
Oh, he did. I highly recommend picking it up if you can find a copy.
Will do. Because that sounds interesting. Because Alan Moore is generally, like I said, he's not a bad writer. He's done several books which were amazeballs, just straight amazeballs. But at the same time, he's done books where it's just kind of like, what am I? This is some hippie trippy shit here. What the hell did I just read? You know what? I'm just gonna step away from the book slowly and try to wrap my head around this.
Back away.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like I'm gonna try to wrap my head around this, and maybe after a few hours it'll make sense, or a few years.
But it didn't happen.
Great. Just saying. But either.
Trying to think. I mean, other than Watchmen and Swamp Thing, I don't think I've read a lot of his stuff. I know he's written a lot more.
He's mainly done a lot of like indie titles and whatnot.
I've read his
Which one?
Lost Girls. That was the thing.
And may I say, I was actually pointing out the Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
Lost Girls was one of those ones where I kind of wish I didn't read it.
You wish you could delete that part of your memory?
I actually own the book. Like, somebody bought it for me, and so I was like, well, I guess I'll read it. So it's him and his wife worked on it, and it underage sex.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that makes sense. That I would want to delete that from my memory too.
So that was part of the story. I'm going to keep it, obviously, for like the fact of like it's one of those books like you don't exactly easily run and buy, but it's one of those ones I'm not really sure if I'm gonna ever want to read again. It was weird. I mean, I'll give Alan Moore this much. I mean, I understand. So personally, like, I'm not one of the mind. Oh well, you should it's like I'm one of the mind of like it's a drawing, so I don't really mind too much. But it's one of those things where I'm surprised you got away with this from the censors, because like this is like a printed official book. So double-edged sword here on my mind process on this one.
Oh, no, I understand.
Yeah. But it does prove the fact that he is crazy, and so is his wife.
Wow.
Well, I mean, if you ever watched his interviews, he's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it was my confirmation bias. It was the confirmation. Tom Strong was a pretty good series that he created. I remember that.
Oh yeah, I've seen those guys in Terrifics.
I recommend reading the Tom Strong books. Pretty fun.
Yeah, that stuff actually looked really good, like classic kind of adventure hero stuff.
It really is. It's a callback to like those old like Bronze Age, Silver Age style stories. It's great.
Oh yeah, that's good. Like, I don't know. Like I said, the only other thing I've read of Alan Moore's was Swamp Thing. Now, mind you, I've never been a Swamp Thing fan, but to me, it's like I looked at Swamp Thing and was like, this is kind of, yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna be over here. You have fun with that. I'm just gonna.
Well, I mean, you probably read Watchmen.
I have not read Watchmen actually.
Oh man, you got to.
Watchmen. That's one of his masterpieces.
Well, okay. Let me partly rephrase that. I haven't read it in its entirety. I got to read like a buddy of mine had bought it for another friend of his because that friend was a huge Alan Moore fan. And so I got to read like the first 20 pages of it.
And you've probably at least watched one of his show, one of the adaptations of his books, in in Justice League. What do you get the man who has everything?
That was actually a good episode.
That's actually a pretty much direct copy of his actual story that he actually wrote for a Superman storyline, where getting Superman the gift for his birthday. Funny enough, that is actually one of the only adaptations that Alan Moore likes of his stories.
Wow, I would never even known that.
Yep, and he actually admitted to that. He said that is one actually I do like, because he said he felt it was actually one of the ones that was actually true to his actual vision. And there was only some slight differences. I think like Robin isn't actually in the actual comic, if I remember correctly. Things like that, but pretty close to what it was. Yeah.
Wasn't the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen one of his too?
Yeah.
It was actually.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was pretty good. I enjoyed the read. First, I need to pick up the last two graphic novels for that series though, because I have the first 3. There's 2 more that I haven't read yet, because it's up to 5 now, isn't it?
I don't even know. I just remember the movie.
Yeah.
I guess it didn't really do it justice.
The book is totally different.
Very different.
Other than a very basic premise, it's pretty much a wholly different story.
I'm surprised too. That was their chance to get a strong female lead, because there's a female in the comic who was actually a very prominent character, who is the main character you follow, and she's not even in the movie at all.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They keep complaining about strong female leads. I'm like, you had a chance.
Yeah, well, this is before
Yeah, this was 2003 or something.
I thought it was like 2001, 2002.
I felt like I saw it in the theater around 2003.
I'm not sure. I'm just saying I could have swore it was sooner.
It was back in the olden days, though. We know that.
Back when the internet was still kind of young. And, you know,
Innocent.
yeah, back when Yahoo was still pretty much, a viable search engine before Google overtook and controlled all.
Ha, 2003.
I recommend using DuckDuckGo.
That's what I use.
Yeah, actually. I've been trying to use that more.
Well, I think it kind of helps that every time you mention you use Google, I get onto you and like, DuckDuckGo!
Yeah, you're one of the ones.
I mean, I do use Google on occasion, but DuckDuckGo is my primary one.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like, I like DuckDuckGo. No extra shit, just what I'm looking for.
Exactly. Like, it's their policy. They want to make sure that they don't like base your search on like whatever you've done before. I was looking at their policy statement. It's always based off of like the first search. Like the first search is always going to be the same search you get like the 50th time, the 100th time, whatever time, because it's always based off of like the algorithm of what you're searching and what the basis of like what anyone would find when searching that. And the actual money the actual money they make is off of like regular, like ad based clicks that are there. Like Google makes the same money. They've admitted Google makes the same money. They just don't make it from those ad clicks. So Google doesn't have a reason to like search your other stuff and like add it as part of your search profile. There's no reason for it because Google doesn't make any money from that.
Let's just be honest. At this point, I look at Google as pretty much. I can't help but feel that Google has gained so much power because so many people use it.
Oh, it's a monopoly for sure.
Well, think about it. BitChute is becoming a viable competitor, but at the same time, I feel that eventually Google's going to pretty much try to gab it. Because of the fact that like something's going to happen and they're going to be the first ones at the forefront to try to get it deplatformed. And because look how long it took for Gab to get back up after the shooting that happened, even though everyone knew that followed that story that Gab was working with law enforcement.
Yeah. And it's unprecedented for a platform to get taken down because a user posted something like, what? Are they going to take down Facebook for live streaming murders and shit, torturing people and stuff? Like, no one even talked about that, but they took down Gab in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because Gab is alt tech and it's actually becoming a viable competitor to Twitter. See, Twitter and Facebook, even though they're both slowly but surely collapsing, it's one of those. The gentleman that did it had already been booted off of Twitter and was on Gab. And I don't even think he really had that strong of a following. It's like the Thousand Oaks shooting that just happened. Police went to Instagram and had them shut down the account. And it's like, no, the account should be there for everyone to see. Because if you're asking them to shut it down, you're trying to hide something. What was there to hide? I don't...
Yeah.
But again, my channel is news and politics when I'm not covering comics, so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, platforms and like BitChute and YouTube and stuff, all that's real interesting to me and relevant. Like BitChute does have a cool feature where anything you upload to YouTube is automatically uploaded to your BitChute. So basically all you have to do to have a channel on BitChute, if you have one on YouTube, is sign up for BitChute. Like, I signed up about a month ago and I just checked it the other day and it's been uploading all my videos. So, just sign up and don't think about it and you have a whole other audience.
Really? Because I need to figure that out how to do that because
yeah. You don't have to double upload. You just go to your settings and it'll have it asks for a specific code on your YouTube channel that you can get in your settings there. And you paste it in and it just automatically uploads it for you.
that would be nice because
Oh, it's really nice. I think they should advertise that like as the main selling point of BitChute because I got to train. But VidMe and stuff wasn't like that.
oh, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do that's going to be because I want BitChute exclusive content. But
Yeah.
but at the same time, my main shtick really has been news and politics. You can't really get too exclusive when you mainly do news and politics.
Unless you're like a journalist yourself and go out there and like.
Oh man, if I would love to be able to do that, but
Bob Jones with a camera crew in the field interviewing politicians.
oh dude, I'd do it straight Tim Pool style where it's just mainly me with a cell phone.
Yeah, that would work.
Doing live streams and whatnot. Like it'd be so much like it'd be fun to do, and two, I would try my best if I did anything like that to be very objective.
That's fair. Anyway, listen, guys, I gotta get going. I have things I need to. I got other promises that I made, and I have other things I need to get out to do. It was a fun live stream. We've been on for a while though, and I didn't expect to be on this long.
Absolutely, Switchpoint. I appreciate you being here. I was thinking actually too of ending at the top of the hour here, so I might just call it good for everyone if you guys are down.
Yeah, I was about to say I had to go so I could breathe a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate everyone being here. We did stream about 3 hours, so it was a lot of fun talking to everyone.
Yeah, it was definitely fun meeting everyone. Oh man, sorry, it's just wow. You lose track of time right when you start talking, you start doing things.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I had planned to stop at 9 o'clock my time, so that's actually perfect. So, any final thoughts or anything from anyone?
Just remember, don't try to bend the spoon. Just remember, there is no spoon.
Yeah, I'll buy that. I like the Matrix. All right. So thanks everyone for watching, and everybody's YouTube channels are in the description box. So definitely check out their channels. I highly recommend everyone who is on here today. And thank you all for being a part of DC Fans United.